Welcome back, everybody. I am so excited to read this chapter. So, just like last week, I was warned countless times about the spoilers in this chapter, and I did not get spoiled. So, I'm super excited. I assume that we're building off of what we got last week with, Rock showing up, the Rock's pirates showing up in general, or I guess they aren't the Rocks pirates because it says Rocks was the future Rocks was the future captain of Rocks, whatever that means. Hopefully, we're about to find out. So I'm excited. That's all I got to say, guys. I am so pumped about this. Just like last week, I'm gonna get into it pretty quickly, or at least I'm gonna try my best to get into it pretty quickly because I do not want to get spoiled. Not that the chat would do that on purpose, of course, but some people come in and they're real pumped. They're a little too excited. They don't know I haven't read it yet, so I'm gonna try to get into it ASAP. But first, I'm gonna go through these couple donation messages we got real quick. So Quanidin with the $2 super chat, who always gives me very good chapter rating predictions here. Quanidin said 10 out of 10 chapter easily. Well, I was already excited, but now I'm even more excited. I think I said the same thing last week, and I'm pretty much gonna keep saying it because Oda's on a generational run right now, in my opinion. And then Vex, the lurking legend himself, with 5 gifted memberships. Vex, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you. And you know what? I'm gonna match you. I'm gonna match you with the YouTube membership. So there is 5 more straight from YouTube. Thank YouTube, not me. And David Cott also with the €2, 9.5 out of 10. Great color spread. The hype is real. So David, for you to give a 9.5 out of 10, that's incredibly high. For David, that might be like all-time ranking. That might be the highest rating I've ever seen from David. So, Mick Pulsar, member for 13 months, over a year. Bro, I appreciate you. You said, hi, Dak, ready for this one? I don't know now. I thought I was. All day I've been thinking about this chapter. I've been messaging people to try to get an idea of when it's coming out and stuff, so I know if I can do the chapter, the reaction today or not. And I was ready, but now with all the hype I'm seeing, with Quanidin say a 10 out of 10, David giving 9.5 out of 10, I don't know. And then last super chat I'm going to read, and then we're going to get right into it. John Stoops, $2, at work, don't care, here for this one, bro. That means it's a good one, John. If you're skipping work to be here, well, not skipping, but you paying a little less attention to work. You're still there. You're still clocked in. If your boss needs you, I know you'll step up. But I appreciate you, my man. Seriously. So, by the way, if you guys haven't noticed, I don't have the headphones today. I actually was planning on going no hat as well, but I was not able to go make it for a haircut because the chapter came out too early, and I need a haircut. So next week, you're gonna see a new Dak. You're gonna see no hat, no giant headphones. That's the reason I wear the hat. Is I normally have to wear the headphones, and I got so tired of it because it's so hot in the room that I was like, you know what? I'm going to go buy some in-ear headphones. But the problem with those, I have a few pairs, but none of them were long enough to reach my computer. So I went and bought the extender. But like I said, I didn't have time for the haircut. So well, I think it's a break after this, right? So next reaction, you'll see a new Dak. But so far, I am loving not having the headphones on. I mean, it was already a good day because we had a chapter. And it was already a great day because it's a Rocks-related chapter. But now, we're moving up in the world, so I'm ready. So here we go. Ku, you said get a lineup. I will. I'm gonna go get hooked up by my boys at probably Great Clips or I don't know. There's a couple barbershops near me, but Great Clips is usually. And I know people are gonna laugh at that, but Great Clips has like my stuff like on file, and my hair is super easy to cut, so I just tend to go there. But I know they're mid in many places, so maybe it's just mine's really good. But anyways, we gotta get into the chapter. So without further ado, RM is that? Yeah, RM. Sorry, my vision is not good. It looks like one continuous letter, like one extra loop on the M. But RM, $2, fave One Piece creator, not even close, man. Like I said, it was already a good day. It went to a great day. It went to an amazing day, and you saying that just put it over the top, RM. I appreciate you for real. Thank you so much for that. And I will, and this is a promise. I often make these declarations, and I don't promise because promises, that with technical difficulties, I don't want to go back on a promise. But I'm going to give you guys a promise because of RM super chat. I'm going to get at least one, if not 2 videos out before the next chapter comes out, because after the last chapter I had so many ideas, and I wrote like 6 different scripts, but I wasn't like I felt like I needed to see this chapter first. So no matter what, I'm gonna have a couple videos out before the next chapter. I promise. With dragging my feet on videos, I can't say those days are completely done, but they will stop for at least a little bit because I got some scripts for you guys that you guys are gonna like. So I appreciate you going for 2 videos, maybe 3, but I'm not gonna promise that. But at least 2, at least 1 guaranteed, 2 probably, 3 I doubt it, but maybe. All right, anyways. We're getting into the chapter now. So One Piece chapter 1155. I haven't seen the title yet, so now first we got this sweet cover page for Shonen Jump with Luffy and like all the different gears 2, 3, 4, 5 on the sides, which that is pretty cool. I like that. You know, I say it every time. Luffy, you know, Luffy is the king of Shonen Jump at this point. They got to put him on the cover if they want to, you know, sell. It's smart marketing. So I love seeing Luffy on the cover, of course. I also like the way One Piece looks with like the lightning coming out of it. That's pretty cool. And also, you see like in the bottom right, the 5 for Luffy, but the way that he's like, I don't know. I like the way that looks. Anyways, it's like different color inside the 5 and different outside it. Anyways, Knack Talk, member for 13 months, said like D-Stream. Listen to my man Knack, and please like D-Stream if you haven't already, because we're about to get into some crazy peak. We also have a cool color page here with Usopp and Luffy. Where are they at? Do we know? Is this just a random place? I was trying to think if this was like supposed to be a certain island or based off of a certain place. I'm not really sure. I see Sanji's here. So it looks like Nami's afraid to walk across the bridge, and Sanji's holding his arms out like, I'll help you. And instead she's holding on to Jinbei, which, I mean, you know, Sanji's already jealous of Jinbei from the bounty stuff, so he's probably not too happy about that. Also, are the birds also styled like the Straw Hats? Is that what Oda's going for? Because that one in front of Jinbei looks like Zoro, or at least it has like green spiky hair. I mean, maybe that might be the only one, but are there other ones? I don't know if the other ones really apply that well. Maybe they do. I don't know. This is pretty cool though. I like the perspective of it, right? Because they're so high up, and you can see just like the buildings and the people down below, and this is pretty cool. This reminds me a little bit of the Egghead art, because there was a few scenes in Egghead where Oda drew like a bird's eye view of the whole thing, and I thought those were some of the best panels in Egghead because they were just like so beautiful. So this is pretty dope. Also, Knack Talk, my guy. 10 gifted memberships already, and friend Harper with the $5 with the How's It Going sticker. Y'all, this has to be an amazing chapter, isn't it? This has to be an all-timer, I feel like. So thank you, Knack. Thank you, friend Harper. Y'all are some goats for real. Thank you. But now I'm gonna stop reading the supers, because now we are into the actual chapter. So chapter 1155, the Rocks Pirates. So this is interesting. I think I said it earlier this stream, but I'm sure you guys saw it last chapter. But it said that Rocks was the future captain of the Rocks Pirates, which could hint like, do the Rocks Pirates exist, but he's not the captain, or do they just not exist yet? So I don't know if we're about to see like the origin of the group, you know, and like they pick a flag and stuff. But this is interesting. All right, so Loki's saying this is Elbaf, but Pops ain't here. He's on a voyage. You're all puny humans? This is the first I've ever seen one moving around for real. Ahaha, how cute. Is that Stussy, I presume? Hang on, did you just say Pops? You're Harold's kid? Okay, yeah, and it's cool. I knew that was Rocks talking just from the font choice. So good job, TCB. Because like the little arrow for the bubble is just kind of out there, but the font is very Rocks-esque for sure. I'm guessing he can still be reached even if he's away, right? What's your name? Loki. Alright, Loki, just do what I tell you. Head on home and get someone to send urgent word to your pops. Tell him to say, Loki has been seriously hurt. You've got to return to Elbaf at once. Watch your mouth. Do I look like I take orders from a human? So that's kind of badass. So I wonder if this leads to Loki getting... Well, I don't know. The panel we saw earlier seemed to be a different context in this, but this is kind of wild that he's just, you know, calling his shot this early. You seriously expect my father to drop everything just because I'm hurt? Yeah, right. Besides, someone as weak-looking as you has no right to boss me around. And, that's a good point from Loki, because, like, his mom dropped him off of a branch, probably hundreds of feet to the ground, and he just climbed back up, and Harold didn't come running. Which did Harold know that happened? Was he, given a different story because Estrid is Estrid and was trying to do stuff? I don't know, but that is kind of a good point. Rock's swordsmanship was renowned for its brutal impact, akin to a giant hammer or cannon fire. Okay, the giant hammer obviously makes me think of Loki. It was said to blow everything in the surrounding vicinity away. Looks like he attacked Loki. We get a big yarg. It looks like Loki is hurting. Vo ha ha ha. Alright, so it's not Zay ha ha ha. It's Vo ha ha ha. I don't want to read too deep into the laughs, although there are some good theories that tie to the laughs, but Vo ha ha ha? I don't know. Maybe, I mean, we're reaching, but like voice, or like voice of all things? I don't know. I don't know what else Vo ha ha could mean. Loki has been seriously hurt. Or Vohaha, there we have it. Loki has been seriously hurt. Harold's path crossed with this madman once before. Are we going to the Stop it. Oh, I just saw Emu. Hold on, I gotta get a drink of water. I just saw Emu. I saw Instant Messenger Sama at the... I don't know what else to say. I saw it. We're about to get some of the reverie, bro. Already. Oda. Like I said it last week, we're all at Golden Corral, we're all at Top China Buffet, we're eating nonstop. I don't even want to read this because I'm so pumped about this. Like, I didn't think we'd get it so soon. I mean, maybe we don't. Maybe we only get a little bit. But I saw Emu. Whenever you see that silhouette, you know who it is. Oh, bro, here we go. It happened during the reverie that year. Someone attacked and kidnapped 5 of the kings? Unbelievable. That big man in black has to be the culprit. So that big man in black, I wonder if they think it's Harold, because he would be the big man. I presume he's going to be way bigger than the people he's with, unless there's another giant country that brought him, but I feel like that's not the case. The lives of those sovereigns cannot be used to extort Mu. So is the idea that Rox kidnapped 5 of the kings to try to get, like, Emu's attention or to bring Emu out or something? Wait. Bro. Wait. Is that Rox in the flower room? I haven't even read the panels yet. I'm just... Is that Rox in the flower room with a gun? No kidding, but it threw the Holy Land into chaos, didn't it? The incident would be the first and last of its kind. An intruder made it all the way to the flower room, hidden deep within the Holy Land. And then the servant, is that Gunko with the eyes? Bro, what is happening? What is that Gunko, or do a lot of them get their eyes messed up when Emu takes control, or like not actually takes control, but like sets them up to be able to take control? You know what I mean? Is that Gunko, or is that... Because also the hair is a lot shorter, which is why I'm not... Like, you would think it's Gunko. Like, good chance. But the fact the hair is long is making me kind of second guess it, because maybe they all get a second eye, but obviously it's probably Gunko. So this is... What is happening, bro? What is this? The man claimed to be a Davy Jonesian pirate? Alright, hold on. I know we're only a couple pages in. I know. And I know I got a lot of peak to say, and I'm not going to hold off too long, but this is... If I wasn't reading this in front of you guys, I would probably have to keep stopping and just, like, just get my thoughts straight. Like, that's what I'm trying to do right now. Like, we just had Davy Jones name dropped again. I've been waiting, since Long Ring Longland to have Davy Jones mentioned again, and now it's getting mentioned when Rox is in the Holy Room with Emu. We're 2 pages in. Oh, bro, what? This is why I didn't do any videos last week. That's what I'm gonna say. Because this is the kind of stuff where I'm like, whatever I would have said last week would not... It's not that I would have even been wrong or right. It's just this is a whole other level, bro. We just had Davy Jones name drop. The man claimed to be a Davy Jonesian pirate. He knew there was nothing more he could do in that moment. So he withdrew with these words. Just wait. One day, I'll be back. Bro, we are 2.5 pages in, 3.5 pages in, and that. So obviously this is some Blackbeard hype, right? Like this is Oda right now, just foreshadowing, I guess, paralleling what Blackbeard's gonna do in the future. That when he says I'll be back, he's talking about Blackbeard. All right, let's keep going. This might be the craziest chapter I've ever read. Like, we're only 3 pages in, but I can feel it. Naturally, this incident would never be brought to light, which is something we heard about Garling putting Mjosgard to death. They said the same thing, like, word of this would never reach the rest of the world or something like that. So a lot of the stuff that happens in Marijua we don't hear about, which then makes us raise the question, what else has happened in the past that they just kept under wraps, right? Maybe there's even other big events. Ironically, on that very day, there was another intruder in the Holy Land. Look, it's so much bigger than a normal giant. I want it as a slave. No, we should kill it and have it stuffed. Bro, somebody cook these guys. Guards, protect the nobles. Oh, whoa, we got Harold running on fire through the Holy Land? Hot, 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 hot. I'm sorry the negotiations went south. And I know trespassing is a crime, but isn't this all going a bit too far? Don't let the king napper get away. That wasn't me, I swear. An admiral was murdered. The culprit ran towards the castle. Proceed with caution. So now we have Rox and Harold about to meet each other, which is interesting now that Rox is back trying to meet Harold again, right? So I don't know this is definitely going to add some context to that meeting, I feel like. It's just one thing after the other. Seize that biggin. That must be the guy who kidnapped the kings. How dare he use me as a scapegoat? I'll show him. A giant in the Holy Land? Don't your kind lurk in the boonies? The art for Rox there looks a little scuffed, I gotta say, but that's all right. Now we got a giant clash between Harold and Rox, bro. This panel, the sword is like 10 times the size of Rox, and here's Rox just holding him off like no problem. Maybe there is a little bit of a problem, but you know, he's doing fine against Harold. So what this does is not only tell us how strong Rox is, but it probably more so tells us how strong Harold is, because for Harold to be able to go toe-to-toe with him, like, I know Harold's several magnitudes bigger, but still. This also reminds me a little bit of, like Roger and Whitebeard a little bit, kind of. It's like that level of clash, I feel like. The clash between the two strangers blew away everyone within a 5-kilometer radius. Bro, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. 5 kilometers, bro. I know we, you know, most of my viewers are American, so we use miles. So let's just do a let's do a quick conversion. Wait, a 5K is 3.1 miles, right? I think it's something like that, because I used to run 5Ks. I think they're like 3 miles, so that's like a 3-mile radius. Stop it. Stop. Oda, you can end the chapter right now. It's fine. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's more hype, and I'm gonna keep reading. But like, Oda, you could have just said break next week, and I feel like I would have been satiated. But we're only halfway through, so this is the most insane chapter I've ever read, probably. Vohahaha, state your name. Barahaha, it's Harold. I'm Rox. So it's cool that he calls himself Rox, because obviously his name is Rox D. Zebek. Luffy doesn't call himself Monkey, he calls himself Luffy, so it's interesting that he says that because Sengoku also called him just Rox, and so that's interesting. I'm Rox. Angle your neck strike towards the town. They'll enslave you if you get caught. Huh? Why? Don't ask questions. So they became friends rather quickly, it seems like. So they are friends. How do I get to Elbaf? The new world is that way. Vohaha. If you survive this, let's meet again, Harold. Bro, this was cool, man. Like I see, it looks like they're leaving now, but that Oda, you really cooked this reverie thing. I feel like this was beyond all my expectations. Don't be ridiculous, as if I'd ever associate with a criminal like you. What the? Are you seriously just gonna jump off the edge? Rox had taken down a Navy admiral just moments earlier. Despite all the efforts to save him, the admiral did not survive. It was deemed the most grievous of sins. Now, are we gonna see who that was? And then Rock's bounty poster, which we don't see the number of. I'm curious if they'll show that, but I definitely get Buggy vibes from this. So like we were saying in my redacted video, which if you guys haven't watched that, I recommend. I'm definitely getting Buggy vibes from this. And I feel like what it's going towards is, like I said, he doesn't have to be related, but obviously the parallel is there, and I think this is, you know, that's pretty undeniable that there's, you know, something going on. In the blink of an eye, Rock's infamy boomed. The event sent a powerful shock throughout the seas. Sometime later, a ship carrying a great amount of celestial tribute to Marijua was attacked. It's got to be by Rox, right? Which is honestly so smart. Like, if you need a bunch of money, just go get the celestial tribute ship. Like, it's literally just a ship filled with money. The gates of justice were destroyed. Oda, you're dropping some, like, world-changing things like it's nothing. The gates of justice were destroyed. If somebody said that in a regular chapter, like, before, like, 1149 or so, whenever this, like, crazy run started, if somebody had just said that, like, oh yeah, somebody destroyed the gates of justice back in the day, I could do a whole video on that. And we're just dropping that line here. Like, it's nothing, dude. The stolen funds were later used to support Rock's pirate activities. So smart. Until that point, Rox had always acted against the world government. But after that, he started to target pirates too. And you see him with a stack of wanted posters, so he's probably collecting bounties. In the world of pirates, there exists a long-standing tradition. Stop it. You all know what this next line is. No. We already had Davy Jones mentioned. And now Oda's dropping lines like, in the world of pirates, there exists a long-standing tradition known as a Davy back fight. Oda, I knew it was coming back. I knew it. Oda, I've been waiting for the Davy back fight. I've been a long believer of the return of the Davy back, bro. And here it is. Like, not that it's happening, you know, in current times. That's coming. But for it to be mentioned in an important context, bro, stop. This is up there with my favorite chapters of all time. Like, Bard, I know might be you know, maybe a little bit of recency bias, but this is my favorite chapter I've ever read. Easily. Oh my god, the Davy back fight and Davy Jones in the same chapter with Rox in the flower room. This is what you guys this is what you guys knew about before I got on here and read it. Like, this is why the hype was building so much. Like, bro, Bean Boy, appreciate you with the 5 gifted memberships, my guy. Thank you. Good timing too, because I'm freaking out. Now you're giving me more time to calm down. Bro, Bean Boy, we had the Davy back fight mentioned, bro. I don't even want to read it. Like I said, Oda, you can just say break next week right now and it's okay. But I know there's more. bro. Pirate crews would compete in a series of matches, wagering their flags or even their crewmates in a truly ruthless game. Rox used this tradition to build his entire crew. Oda, this is everything I wanted with Rox and more. Oh my god, bro! Rox did make his crew with Davy back fights. Oh man, they had won many scoundrels to their side before they even had a flag. They've got an amazing guy. You'll lose it when you see him. After that, they made their way to Elbaf. So now I want to know, where did Rox win each of them from? Right? Because, that would imply that Whitebeard was on a crew before this, and he won Whitebeard. And then Shiki was on a crew before this, and he won him. And so I need to know who were their prior captains, and what motivated them to join those crews, or were they the captains of the crews, and then Rox took them, because you can also take the captain, right? It could be that too, but then I don't know. But both options are good. I'm too hyped to think right now. This is crazy. So after this, they made their way to Elbaf. A West Castle. Oh no, I rushed home as fast as I could, but I'm glad you've already turned the corner on your recovery. Thank goodness. I know that you're strong, Loki, but you shouldn't wander into the realm of the dead. Is that Harold? So did Harold actually come back? Did the plan work? You got lucky escaping with nothing more than that after falling off that cliff. There's plenty more dangers just lurking deeper inside. So he doesn't know Rox did it to him? He's under the assumption that it was from Loki's fall or something? Dad really came back? It has to be a coincidence. He couldn't have come for me. So that kind of hurts to read, I'm not going to lie, because I think this is more so Loki believing that, his parents don't care about him, right? He was under the assumption, my dad's not going to come back for me, my parents hate me, whatever. But it's just the effects of Estrid, right? At least that's how I'm reading it, which that is honestly kind of sad, I'm not going to lie. I thought he was more so going to just say, well, Harold's doing important stuff. He's not going to come back just if I'm hurt, but I think now I'm realizing it's more of just a sad parental thing, which is that, get him on the crew, bro. Get him on the crew. Rox, I've heard all about your crimes. What are you doing here? I missed you, Harold. Oh, bro. No, stop it. This panel. This panel with all the Rox pirates. Who the hell is this on the left? So that guy in the back eating the giant grapes, I'm guessing, is the one guy from Thriller Bark that we technically don't have his name yet. It could be Silverax, I think, but we don't know all. Or we just had a new Rox pirate mentioned recently, right? The guy from the bottom left, who I used to say was Wang Ji, but now Oda said it's a random new guy. So Wang Ji might be one of the people here in this panel if I actually read the words. Maybe they'll say it, but. Because I don't recognize the person on the left. And then I don't recognize the guy on the right either. Huh. I'm just going to keep reading. I'm too hyped. This is the best chapter I've ever read. You gotta join my crew? Oh, bro. Yeah, this is so good. The world government won't hear you out, right? You get it now. The time has come. This is a real feast, gee ha ha ha. So that's Shiki saying that. He sure is big, which is Stussy. So that's the king of Elbaf. That is Whitebeard talking. Don't be stupid. If I anchor myself with a thug like you, you'll lose all the goodwill I've built up with my allies. Sorry. What of it? Aren't those allies government pawns? What's the point of reaching for something that's impossible? You gotta level the playing field. Don't be a wet blanket, Harold. Elbaf has the greatest warriors in the world. If something turns your stomach, you should just crush it. I love Rox, man. I get he's a morally ambiguous or potentially morally bad character, but I don't care, bro. I love Rox. I am such a Rox Zizabek fan. That's the old way. Elbaf has changed. People never change. That same bloodlust is still pulsing through you. So this is such a cool little thing, because I think what Oda's doing here is basically turning their debate into a microcosm of the Elbaf cultural issue right now, right? Because, like, Harold's obviously ushering this new era, and there's a lot of old giants, and even, like, Emu and stuff, the Gods Knights, like, they're saying what Rox is saying. Like, no, like, you're all warriors, like, stay the same. We need, like, we want, at least from the government's perspective, it's like, stay warriors, because we want to use you. We want you to be strong and help us. So, I like that Oda's kind of, you know, like I said, making it a microcosm just between these two. Hey, can't you two just enjoy the meal? You guys should know that if you follow a man like him, you'll only be led to ruin. I love Harold too, bro. I love both of these guys. This is... oh my god. Following that moron? Gee, ha ha ha. Don't make me laugh. We're all completely out for ourselves. None of us would bat an eye if Rox died. Shiki the Wicked, future Golden Lion. Shiki the Wicked? Okay. Well, that's not to say his plans don't have a certain appeal. They could prove very lucrative. So she wants to make money. Miss Buckin, the Tech Bandit. Buckingham Stussy. So she's always been a technology-focused person, which then makes me think there could be some connections to Weevil as well. Have you heard of Hachinosu, the place they call the Isle of Exiles, or even Pirate Island? The Isle of Exiles. Interesting. Countries all around the world send their worst inmates there as a form of penal exile. Bro. Bro. Oh. Oda just so casually just dropping these massive things. Don Marlin, gangster from the West Blue. I'm a fan of that guy too, bro. The Rox Pirates, they might be my favorite crew outside the Straw Hat. You know what? No, I can't put the Straw Hats number 2, but bro, the fact I thought about it, it was meant to be a barren island with no food, where all you could do was wait for death. Edward Newgate, future Whitebeard. So real quick, before I even read this next thing and learn about these other people, this reminds me a lot of shoot, what was I about to say? Of Odin. That's what I was going to say. With Curry, I think. I can't remember all the names. I think it's Curry. But remember how there was that area of Wano where there was like a lot of bandits? Ashura Doji led it. And Odin went there and beat everybody up and turned it into like a prosperous place. It kind of reminds me of that, where it was like you had an area where all the bad guys would get sent to, or where they would just naturally go to. And then Odin flipped it around. It feels similar because obviously Hachinosu now isn't really the same, right? It's like, it is still Pirate Island, but it's a little bit more, I don't know if luxurious is the word, but it's pretty decent now, I would say. But last year, the survivors started banding together. And why do you think that happened? Pirate Prophet. Oh, Choku. Bro, I've been waiting for you. You don't look a thing like I expected. You don't look a single thing that like I had in my head. You look the complete opposite of what I thought. But here he is, bro. I've been waiting to see Ochoku for so long. Wang Ji. Oh, dude. This, like I said, we had Davy Backfight, we had Davy Jones, we had Rox in the Flower Room. We're meeting all the other Rox pirates, including the ones we don't know. We finally saw Wang Ji. This is... Again, I don't know what to say. I've been speechless this whole time. I've been saying words, but I've been speechless. Pirate Prophet, future Commodore of Pirate Island. So we knew that because Blackbeard, with the Rocky Port incident, took it over from Ochoku. Bro. I don't know if my brain can take anymore. Like I said, if I was not reading this in front of you guys, I would have to pause and just think and like collect my thoughts, but we got to keep going. Believe it or not, the island had a massive gold deposit. Dude, again, Oda is just dropping so much lore back to back, bro. I am... what is happening, dude? This is an actual chapter of One Piece. I can't believe it. A shadowy organization found out, underworld, or early mechanizations of the underworld, and found out and got involved. They helped the criminals amass a fortune. That really pissed off the government. Gonzui, the smuggler. So this is the guy from Thriller Bark, right? This is the guy who had the gold armor on. I'm pretty sure. I can't see his whole body, but that looks like him. I'm gonna go back up. Yep, that's him. So Gonzui, the smuggler. The smuggler so there has to be an underworld connection with him. And I mean underworld like the trading, the black market underworld, because the fact his name is the smuggler, that sounds like a black market type thing. But also the other underworld guys we met had similar names. If you remember, I can't remember Giberson. He has not had a role at all. If you don't remember him, that's fine. He looks also crazy. But he was called the Concealer. And there's a few other ones, but a lot of them had names like that, like the something, that was related to their job. So I think that is really important, especially given what he's talking about. He literally said a shadowy organization. I'm imagining he was a part of the underworld or something. Oh, here, I see a ton of text from Rock, so I'm pumped. Here we go. These days, anyone who gets near the island gets swarmed by the hardened criminals. They'll strip you of everything. So then we cut a deal with the government. I asked, how much are you gonna pay us if we take that island back for you guys? Just before I continue, I just had a thought and gotta say it. You know how Blackbeard took over Pirate Island and he's trying to make it like a government-recognized nation? It's like Rox set that in motion back in the day. So there's so much to say about this chapter. Once we get the money, we'll take down Pirate Island and split the mountain load of loot between us. But there's no way in hell we're just handing over the island and those criminals after that. Get it? I'll take charge of Hachinosu, and with these dumbasses under me, we'll turn it into a pirate paradise. Bro, the way he talks about his crew is so wild. That's the one thing I probably don't like about Rox. I mean, we're still learning about that side of things, but given how his crew was talking about him, or at least Shiki in particular, and we know that he got all of his crew from Davy Backfight, so they're kind of forced into this. It does make he's going to be, he's not going to be the Luffy kind of captain where his crew's ready to die for him. Or maybe some of them will be by the end or whatever. Like, I'm sure Kaido seemed to look up to him, right? Either way, I love this guy. I can already see the government and Marines standing there like clueless dogs. Vo ha ha ha. This is just the prologue to my life. Using that island as my base, I'll crush the Navy, bring the Holy Land crashing down, and after that, I'm gonna be king of the world. Like, I love that there's more to read, but Oda, how has the chapter not ended yet? Like, how did Oda write all this and not think, all right, I've done enough this week, let's just end it? Like, nope, Oda's like, I'm dropping a nuke. Well, I'm not dropping a bomb. I'm not dropping anything else. I'm dropping everything I got in one chapter. Bro, this is crazy. Your enemies are too big. You're picking a fight with the whole planet. Say what you want. One day, someone's bound to pull it off. There is no such thing as power that lasts forever. Join me, Herald. If we team up, we will be unstoppable. Bro, this scene reminds me so much of Blackbeard inviting Kuzan to join his crew. Obviously a lot of this dialogue is different, but the way that Blackbeard stood in front of him, held his hand out to Aokiji and looked at him with a similar amount of confidence and was saying we're all here for our own agendas. We're here to accomplish a big thing. I forget exactly all the stuff he said, but it reminds me a lot of that. There's just so much aura, and also you can see Rox's hand being reached out in front of him, which is exactly what Blackbeard did with Kuzan. He had his hand out, join me, come with me. So he's doing the same thing, which is just so cool. We also see Loki. I didn't comment on that, but he was peeking through the door, so he heard this whole thing from Rox. So this probably explains why he looked up to Rox so much. Quit inviting me. I told you I'm the king. That doesn't matter. I'm going to claim it. The whole damn world. So he doesn't say the One Piece because he probably doesn't know it exists yet, right? Because Roger was the one to find it, and that's when the world became more privy to that information. So instead, he's like, I'll just take the whole damn world. And we got Loki over here. This is a really cool panel of Loki. He says, "The world. Loki suddenly realized he had found salvation. 4 years passed. Harold continued rejecting the numerous invitations he received, until one day, Rock's plan had finally reached its fruition. Backed by his monstrous crew, he would send shockwaves throughout the world. Set sail, you bastards. The legend embarks. Break next week." Guys, what was that? That was the craziest chapter of all time, bro. The flag is cool. Like, we already knew what the logo was, so there's not a whole lot to say there. But like, the timing of it's pretty cool. Where Rox went and got all of his things in motion, and then officially made his crew and did all this. That to me is such a cool connection to Blackbeard, because he obviously like was a pirate, but not his own crew. Like, he was on Whitebeard's crew while he was looking for the dark fruit. And once he got it, then he left and amassed his crew and started his own thing, right? Rox did it in a little bit of a similar way, where he's like, let me get my ducks in a row before I officially make myself a pirate crew and go start doing all this stuff. Which, I mean, he went to the Reverie, so he was already doing things. But like, as far as the crew establishment part is like a similar vibe. This was, the last 6 chapters have been insane, but this is the most insane one. Like I know we saw Emu's powers, which we cannot discount how crazy that is. We saw Emu's powers, guys. But this, nah, I'm sorry. This is, I mean, it's all great. It's all top tier. But this, Davy backfight, Davy Jones, all this, just, we saw the Rocks Pirates. We saw Wang Ji, Don Marlin, Gonzui. I'm just scrolling back through, we also got that bounty poster, which reminds me of Buggy. We also got, where was it? Let me go back. I don't think I said this during my reaction, and maybe I'm a little off base, and you guys, I feel like it's going to be unpopular with a lot of people, but I'm getting some Eustace Kid vibes as well from Rox. Like, this panel where he has his arms out, and he has the crew behind him. He almost looks like Kid, bro, with the spiky hair and the spiky jacket. Like, I get a lot of Kid vibes from that panel in particular. I got Kid vibes in his introduction, too. Not saying they're related. I think relation piece is, you know, it's unnecessary in the sense of I don't care if they're related or not, but I get a little bit of vibes from that. I don't know. You know, I did do a little bit of a Kid script. I don't know if the Kid video will be out soon, but I did think of some potential stuff there. But this, bro, this chapter, 10 out, and we reset the scale every time, but this one is the highest rating of any chapter that I've ever read live. I don't know what my other rankings were, but just push them all back a little bit, because this is the new number one. This, bro. Harold running when he was on fire was also just such a cool scene. Like, and also, Rox meeting Emu. Like, it's not even just that Rox saw Emu, right? It's not just that, like, he caught a glimpse or, like, heard someone, like, you know, like, overheard someone talking about it or eavesdropped, or it's not even like a Sabo and Vivi thing, or, well, Vivi didn't see Emu, but, like, but Wapple. Like, Wapple saw Emu and then ran away. It's not even something like that. Rox is in here just hanging out with Emu, bro. Why did Emu not just smite Rox immediately? Is Rox that strong that Emu can't mess with Rox? The lives of those sovereigns cannot be used to extort Mu. So did Emu not do it because they didn't want to rat themselves out? And then we got this probable Gunko thing over here, which now that I'm thinking about the long hair thing, going back to that, this is what, 40, this is like 50 something years ago. So, well, it also messes with the timeline in general, because this was 56 years ago, right? And Brook got lost 52 years ago. So if this is Gunko, that would imply that Gunko, like, their connection was even before this, I would imagine. So that makes it weird. I mean, whatever. I don't know. I don't even care. Whatever it is. But this would be a way younger Gunko, so that might explain why her hair's longer. Then maybe as she got older, she cut it. That might be how that story works. But then you also gotta think, if this is Gunko, which we already kind of knew this, but if this is Gunko, then she looks what? like 15 here, probably something like that. So, and this is 56 years ago, so she would be like 71, and she doesn't look to be 71. So obviously she stopped aging at some point. So there's something to say there. Oh, bro, this is crazy. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get through the get through the super chats. I can barely talk right now. This was too much. Red David Cott, Red Mick Pulsar, John Stoops, thank all of you. Appreciate you. RM, appreciate you. Knack Talk, Growth Stonks, member for 19 months. I'm sorry, it must be said. Elbaf greater than Wano. I know we have a long way to go. And I understand if people don't want to rank their arcs before they're over. I totally understand that, because maybe Elbaf will suck soon. Maybe Oda will make some mistakes soon. But I agree with you, Growth Stonks. I agree. I've been saying since before Elbaf started it was going to become my favorite arc in the story. And it wasn't even for the reasons that are going on right now. Like, I was not thinking about Brook flashback. I was not thinking about rocks. I was not thinking about any of this stuff. But all this stuff has just made it better. Like, and you know, Enel coming back, Yarouge coming back, Big Mom coming back. Like, all that's still on the table, or at least them getting touched on. I mean, we already saw Big Mom last chapter, like touched on the flashback again. So I agree with you, Gross Stonks. I know it's early. I know. But I'm going to say it. I agree. Andrew A. with the $5. Cleared my schedule to see your reaction. Andrew, I appreciate you, brother. I preach your long ring, long land theory every day. This is a W for that theory. I completely agree with you, man. And honestly, I wasn't even really thinking about the theory part of it, even though you're absolutely right. But I was just pumped because I'm like the confirmation that Oda didn't forget, which I always believed, but that's what a lot of people would say is like, oh, that arc doesn't matter. Davy backfight, it's not that relevant. Blah 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 blah. Like Foxy sucks, you know, etc. No, bro, Rox is out there doing it. Like, I wonder if Foxy got the idea of doing Davy backs from Rox. Like, I don't know how old is Foxy. Let's check this out. He is 38, so he was born the same year God Valley happened, so that means he probably didn't learn about it from Rox directly. But did he hear the stories of Rox doing Davy back fights? Maybe. Because Foxy might think the same thing, like, oh, I can go get a really strong crew. Wait. I just noticed something. I didn't look hard enough at the panel, but do you see in the Davy backfight panel, Rox has on boxing gloves and he's beating some guy up? You guys see that? Tiny Angry Gnome, you just said boxing gloves, so you did see it. I just noticed that. Bro, stop. He's wearing boxing gloves in that panel too. No. This chapter just keeps getting better. I've already read it and it keeps getting better. That's insane. That is so crazy. Andrew, I appreciate you. Jao Victor with the member for 7 months. Appreciate you, brother. Why didn't Emu attack Rox? Why let him go? Bro, I swear I asked that question a couple minutes ago before I even saw that super chat. I promise you. I don't know. Rox has to be him. There's no what other explanation could there be? He's him. If you really wanted to go, you know, deep into the weeds on this, maybe you could say, like, Emu knows the future because of the prophecy stuff, and maybe Emu knows, like, nah, if I kill Rox here, that'll lead to bigger problems. I want you to go out there and cause problems. Or maybe it's a thing where, you know, Rox is going out there, like, beating these other pirate crews and taking their captain. Maybe Emu thought that was more of a positive for him. Like, yeah, like, I'd rather you take out these other crews so I don't have to worry about it. But none of that's a good enough explanation for me. I don't know. The answer's got to be that Rox is him, Jao. That's got to be it. That's the only explanation. Now, one thing is we didn't see Rox use a fruit anywhere, and so I'm guessing that he's just a swordsman, just a hockey man, which is cool. But given the parallel to Blackbeard, I think that's interesting that he wouldn't have a fruit. And maybe he does, or maybe he ate one later, but the fact we didn't see one is interesting. Trevor Verges, my guy, which good job on the Rox thumbnail, by the way. Trevor's the one who drew it. With the $5. Like D-Stream for this one. This chapter is wild, brother. I appreciate you. You're absolutely right. like my heart rate is way up there right now, and for good reason. You know, like I went to the dentist the other day. Well, actually, I've gone a few times the last couple weeks, but I went there a couple weeks ago, and I had to get what's called a gingival cleaning, which is where like they clean like in your gums between your teeth. Kind of hard to explain. Not a big deal. But before they do that, they do a blood pressure test because they want to make sure like if they, you know, pop something, like the blood's not going to just come spurting out everywhere because there's, I guess, you know, you're going in the gums, so it's going to bleed a little bit. And basically, I did the heart rate test, and they're like, your heart rate's a little up. But I had just finished walking the dogs, which was the answer. Like, you might want to get that checked out. I was like, oh, I'm all right. Now, if I took that test right now, they would turn me away. If I was at the dentist right now and they did the blood pressure test, they would say, you got to come back tomorrow, sir. In fact, we're going to recommend you to go to the hospital because the heart rate is so high. Like, there's no way I'd pass that test right now. I am all over the place. Trevor, thank you. It was a long-winded way of saying thank you. David Cott with the €5. Rocks greater than Roger. I'm gonna read the rest before I give my thoughts. That's why he needed to team up with Garp and my boy Bogard to defeat him. But did Rocks die, or did Blackbeard more than inherit his blood and will? I probably agree. Well, I agree Rocks greater than Roger 38 years ago. I'll say that much, because Rocks was like in his prime, but Roger was like, he's in his like somewhat prime, but I would say like the disease throws a wrench in it a little bit, but I would say Roger was definitely stronger later on. Like when he was fighting Whitebeard, that version of Roger I think is stronger than the God Valley one. So if we're talking God Valley, I'm definitely going Rocks greater than Roger. If we're going peak versus peak, I mean that's a 50-50. That's a I might go Rocks, honestly. But based off what we've seen here, I might go Rocks. I don't mean to give any disrespect to Roger, but, like, I mean, what am I... He's in the same room as Emu, bro. Emu's too afraid to go at Rocks. Whenever we do the top 30 strongest, we're gonna just say don't bother ranking Rocks because he's number one. Like, that's how it should be. It's like, just don't even waste the space. Because, like, Emu wouldn't even throw hands with Rocks. Bro, I'm still looking at this panel of Rocks sitting with the gun, looking at Emu. If you would have sent me a picture of that and said, like, hey, what do you think about this potentially happening? Like not as a spoiler, but like if somebody thought of this like weeks ago and just said, hey, Dak, what do you think Rocks will ever be in the flower room with Emu, just holding a gun, just talking casually? I'd be like, bro, no, like, it's Emu. There's no, if Rocks was in the flower room, X, Y, and Z is gonna happen. No, well, it happened. Rocks had all those adventures, had 18 years of adventures, because this is 56 years ago and he died 38 years ago. He had 18 years of adventures knowing that Emu existed. That's not real. And then, David, you also said, and he used my boy Bogard to defeat him. Listen, Bogard, if there's one thing that we know about Bogard, it's that he's not helping anybody do anything. Because in the Kobe and Helmeppo cover story, for one thing, Garp gets cut by Axe Hand Morgans, which is ridiculous. And then Morgans takes Helmeppo hostage while Bogard's standing right there. This is Axe Hand Morgan we're talking about. Bogard did nothing to stop Axe Hand Morgan. He took Helmeppo hostage, stole a passenger ship, and started sailing away. And then Bogard's like, all right, ready the cannons. It's like, you didn't do anything while Axe Hand Morgan was 2 inches in front of you. He was chained up at first. Like, what are you... So listen, if Bogard couldn't stop Axe Hand Morgan, I don't have any faith in him helping against Rocks, but I think I still agree with your overarching point. And you also said, did Rocks die, or did Blackbeard more than inherit his blood and will? That's a good question. You know, I think back to, like, Big Mom and Mother Carmel, or even now with the Emu and Gunko situation, because there's been theories for a long time that, like, oh, maybe Mother Carmel will take over Big Mom because maybe she got eaten on purpose, or maybe like she has to awaken the soul fruit first and that's why it hasn't happened. Or for Gunko and Emu, we obviously saw Emu take over Gunko directly. And so now, does that maybe mean that Rocks is actually in Blackbeard somehow and is like gonna come back at some point. You know, I personally hope that doesn't happen because I want Blackbeard to be his own thing. But the idea that Rox is gonna come back, I feel like it's a really strong idea, right? Like whether it's through Blackbeard in his body or yeah, I don't know how Oda's gonna do it, but I hope there's a way where Blackbeard's still like his own guy and it's not just Rox like, you know, driving the car that is Blackbeard this whole time. But it's undeniable that theory could very well happen. I mean, the fact that Rox said, "Just wait, one day I'll be back." He said, "I," you know, and does he just mean his will? Does he just mean like his son because his son will be like him, kind of like how Roger was like, "Oh, my son will be the one to find the One Piece." Is it the same thing? I don't know. I feel like Rox coming back in some way is likely. I don't know if it'll be like through Blackbeard, but man, stocks are up. Stocks are up. Kovan Krirar, sorry if I'm butchering that name, but you had the Canadian $7. Can you please make a video with Sai and Brago, both of them? I can definitely do one with Sai. If you're talking about like on Redacted, I'll try to get Brago. I actually, you know what? I'm genuinely meant to message Sai yesterday and ask him if he's free over the next couple of days to record, just because I'm trying to get ahead and get those scheduled so you guys know, like, whenever I do the reaction, who I'm going to talk to. But I did forget to message him. But he probably will be free, so he's going to be the first person I ask. I've never done a collab with Brago before. Well, like, we've been on the same stream before, but I've never done one with him on my channel. But I know Sai is really close with him, so let me try. Let me see if Sai can pull some strings for me, because I don't even think I've ever messaged Brago directly. Maybe I should. I've met Brago in real life, but I've never messaged him. So I don't have a way to contact him that easily. So I'll pull some strings. But it is funny to think about that I've literally met him, but I have not talked to him online. But regardless, I will try, Kovan. I will try. Sai is pretty likely, I would say. But I would like to get Brago on. He's got some really good thoughts. Let's see here. Shout out to everyone who subscribed during the stream, by the way. I appreciate it. There's a ton of you guys. Thank you. I think a lot of you are probably doing it to chat during the stream, but regardless, it really means a lot. Kuya Pixels with the $10. My guy Kuya, what do you got to say? Amazing 15 out of 10 chapter. I agree. If we're, just like I said last week, if we're going off the old rating scale, like if I'm going off like the Wano chapter rating scale or the Egghead chapter rating scale, this is a 15 out of 10 because this is the best chapter I've ever read. I mean, you go back to like Gear 5th, like for what that meant for the story, it's kind of hard to compare to those chapters specifically. But this is uncomparable for me. This is a totally different ball game of a chapter. Back-to-back peak fiction. Rox is an overpowered menace and cannot be stopped. I still think he's not dead and is lurking behind the shadows. Also, cheers from Italy. Dude, I hope you're enjoying your trip, by the way. It means a lot that you took a break from the trip to come to this reaction. But given how big the chapter was, I totally understand. So, but I hope you're enjoying the trip for sure. Yeah, I mean, like Rox, like I know whenever you say not being dead, you definitely mean some kind of, you know, he did die at God Valley, quote unquote, but did he cheat the system? Like if Mother Carmel died when Big Mom ate her, but then she comes back through some devil fruit shenanigans, some soul power shenanigans, and like, did she die? You know, it's kind of wishy-washy. So in that way, I think Rox definitely did die, but did he die in a way where he's eligible to return? I don't know. I'm also thinking, like, I don't want Oda to go the route of bringing people back from the dead in a literal sense, but we did do it once with my favorite character in the story, which is Brook, who obviously has been focused on in this arc. So, I mean, if Brook can literally die and come back to life, like in the most literal of senses, because like Luffy did it too, but it was like he died for like 2 seconds, right? His heart stopped beating for just a moment, and then he came back. Like Brook was dead for a year. His body decomposed, and so again, I don't want Oda to get to do that, but like for Rox, I'm okay with him. You know, I'm okay bending the rules a little bit for Rox to back. So I agree. The stocks are way up on Rox coming back after that line. Just wait, one day I'll be back. Alexander Fiorello with the $5 super chat. Hope you're having a good one, my man. It's honestly shameful what TCB has done with their pop-up ads and how hard it makes for mobile readers, bro. Yeah, so TCB, if you're listening, I want to start this off by saying I love you guys. You get the chapter out early. It's high quality. Translations are usually on point. Sometimes there's a little bit of iffiness. There's actually one thing last week that the official was different on that I think was pretty important, with the way that Jarl talked about the letters from the Gale Raw Company. But in general, TCB, you've done great for several years, but the ads are too much. The ads are just too much. Even on my redacted video that I did, Parvision commented on it. He said, "Yeah, I had to use a different link because I'm scared of the TCB one." And I'm like, after what happened to Cole, if you guys remember, I'm not going to show you guys the video, but if you guys, Cole got the worst of all pop-ups when he was watching or when he was reading TCB like a year ago. So I agree, Alexander. I completely agree. So TCB, I understand you have to have ads to pay for the server of the website. I understand, but the type of ads that you're showing us and how many there are, it's a little much. Like I would almost, like, I don't know if I would. I got to think of the logistics, but like I would almost rather like donate money to TCB than have to deal with the ads. You know what I mean? Like, because it's bad. It's bad, Alexander. I agree. In my redacted video, Par literally commented, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, I live in fear when I'm on TCB because of the pop-ups." Now, my pop-up blocker works really well, so I don't have that issue, but it is bad. I agree with you. Nico Lakin super chatted 22 euros. My guy, let's see what you're cooking here, man. The chapter off so insane. Rocks in the flower room had me jumping, bro. If I wasn't chained to the computer with these headphones, which actually is less of an issue now that I got the extender cord. Like, this is super long now. But once I get used to that, I should have elevated my desk because I can make it a standing desk. I should have been running around too. So I feel you. All the lore is crazy. Davy, Jonesy, and Pirate. Yeah. So I'm gonna read what else you gotta say, but we gotta talk about that. So many things can be linked here. Come on, man. Chapter is peak. Beyond rating. Yeah. Like, all the ratings were given 12 out of 10, 15 out of 10, whatever out of 10. Like, anything greater than 10 out of 10. At this point, like, we don't even have to rate it. You know, if you read this, the rating scale is broken. It's just shattered. There's not a rating. It's just gone, right? There's nothing to even say. And Davy, Jonesy, and Pirate. I'm glad you said that, because what does that mean exactly? Like, is that like the Peace Main and Morganeer connection? Because, like, I know we've heard that a lot, where like Luffy would be a Peace Main and Blackbeard would be like a Morganeer. So is that the idea that Davy Jonesian's like a Morganeer, like just an evil pirate? Is that the idea? I don't know. Dexter, I saw you said I wrote a bunch of stuff in DMs, but specifically about Davy Jonesian. All right, Dex, let's see what you got to say. Let's see. Hold on. I see you're still typing, so I'm just gonna wait a second. I'll come back to that. I see you're still typing. But yeah, that part. Well, like I said, we're gonna come back to that. We're gonna talk about Davy Jones a lot, because that, of all the things in this chapter that shocked me the most, other than Rocks being in the same room as Emu, because that is, like I said, that's game breaking. That's like not even. You would never convince me that happened if I didn't see with my own eyes. But the other craziest thing for me is the Davy Jonesian pirate. The fact Davy Jones was mentioned in context of Rocks, that's crazy. So I'll come back. I'll come back and read what you got to say here in a second. RQ with the 10 PLN. Hold on, I feel like I've looked this up every stream, but I gotta know what it is. What is that? Polish Zloty or Zloty. That's right. So you gotta remember PLN Polish. If I remember that, I'll remember the other part. Oda made a chapter just for you, Lamau. Bro, that RQ, it's so true though, right? Like, the fact that the most hype chapter we've had maybe ever ties to so many things that I personally have talked about. Oda, thank you, bro. You didn't have to do this. Like, these are the kind of chapters, I don't know if I should even say this, but these are the kind of chapters to where, you know, if Pluton isn't a mole, or if the One Piece isn't an afro, it's okay. It's because stuff like this, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if I get the theories right. This is stuff I care about, and bro, he loaded me up, man. I can't believe it. I'm still shocked. And it's so funny with the people who were warning me, because like every week I get warnings about the chapters at this point, but the last two I've gotten a lot of warnings about. And this week I didn't get as many early in the week, but partway through the week I kept getting people who would, like, normally it's like, Dak, be really careful of spoilers, the chapter's hype, and that's it. But this time I got multiple people sending like long messages that were like, Dak, no matter what you do, you cannot get spoiled on this chapter. This chapter is hype. You cannot get spoiled. Trust me. Like, it was just like a longer-winded way of explaining how I cannot get spoiled. There was also people who were messaging me this who don't normally warn me about spoilers, so that maybe could have been a hint about this, but shout out to everyone for not spoiling me. This was a trip, seriously. So thank you, RQ. I appreciate you. David Cott with the €2. What's Caribou up to joining Blackbeard, who removed his dad? Well, wait. Caribou, are you saying Blackbeard? Wait. What's Caribou up to joining Blackbeard, who removed his dad? Are you saying Blackbeard removed Caribou's dad, or Caribou? Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about Wang Ji. Now it makes sense. Took me a connection, because you're talking about. Are you talking about the tongue? Hold on. Hold on. Are you talking about the tongue? Wang Ji is Caribou's dad. I mean, is it because of the tongue? Is that why you're saying that? Because the tongue, like, because they do have really long tongues. His is like forked like a snake. I get what I think. There's definitely some legitimacy to that, because not because of Caribou, but because of, well, I was gonna say Korribu, but he doesn't look that much. Korribu looks a little more like Wang Ji, you know what I mean? A little bit, but not really. He doesn't have the same tongue. He has a thing dropping from his face. I guess they each kind of exude a little bit of Wang Ji. I like the idea. I like it. And I definitely prefer, I mean, Ochoku's cool, but I think Wang Ji is too iconic because of Tekken, so. Kovan, you said, I'm gonna go buy a TV right now. Bro, I hope you get a good deal. I just saw some great deals at Walmart earlier when I was buying these headphones, which, by the way, screw Walmart. They didn't have an aux cord extender or the type of headphones I was looking for. They had like nothing, so screw Walmart. But I went to Best Buy and they did great. But hope that goes well. But yeah, David, that's interesting. I like that idea. Feel like I'm also trying to think of Caribou's cover story, if there's anything there. I don't think so. I don't think anything there would tie to Rocks. I don't know. I like the idea, though. I think it's really interesting. Puya Pixels with the $2. Rocks had the Avengers of One Piece for his crew. Literally, though, right? Like, he went around, like, what was that thing he said? Let me go. He said something about the Davy back fights. Right there. They've got an amazing guy. You'll lose it when you see him. So he's hunting specific people. Like, like we saw him with the bounty posters. He's looking through the bounty posters, picking the top tier guys, maybe with certain powers that he wants or just certain connections, whatever. He went about this in a very meta way. And I think that's cool. I think that's really cool for the story, because like Blackbeard did the same thing in a different way, where he went and got a bunch of different devil fruits. Like, if we lived in the One Piece world, you'd probably want to make great use of devil fruits, because they're like kind of just hacks, right? You can only eat one. Now, Blackbeard cheated and has multiple, so there's, that's a little bit of context, but he also has a whole crew of devil fruit users. He's hunting devil fruits, like we saw Burgess and Dressrosa with like a sack of devil fruits. He's going for Sabo's Maramara. He's going for Luffy's Gomu Gomu. All that kind of stuff, right? And so I think it's cool that Blackbeard did that. Like, he went about the One Piece world in a meta way. Like, well, let me amass all these fruits that give great powers. That'll make me really hard to defeat. But it's like Rocks did it in a different way, where he went around thinking, hey, there's a lot of strong pirates out there with connections. If I just force them onto my crew, then that's easier than, like, beating it out of people, forcing it, subjugating islands and making people do what you want. Like, if I just get this guy on my crew through a Davy back fight, he's got no choice but to listen to me and help me out. And You know, you think about like Robin. If Rox lived today, he would go and force Luffy into a Davy back fight so he can take Robin. So then he's like, well, now I got someone who can read the poneglyphs. Like, he's going about it in the way that like a really strong evil pirate would go about it, and I think that is so damn cool. Like we've needed that. So I agree. Spencer with the $2. Rox is so powerful he even stole the flashback, bro. That's hilarious. Because Roger kind of did the same thing with Odin, right? And Loki and Odin are parallels in the sense of like being the outcast prince who's actually a good guy but misunderstood sort of thing. But whenever we started the Odin flashback, it cascaded into the Roger flashback essentially, and that's what made it really, really hype. Like I love the Odin stuff, but the way that Oda interconnected it with Whitebeard and then Roger, it made it feel so much bigger, right? He's doing the same thing right now, and he's cooking to an insane degree. So I love it. Like Rox is seriously stolen the show. John Stoops with the $5. Whose flashback is this? Harold, Loki, Rox, whoever it is, I'm loving it. Also Ochoku, Caribou's father, Marlin Bage's father. Now that. So we talked about the Caribou thing, but Marlin or whatever. What's his name again? What was his? Don Marlin. Gangster from the West Blue. That's Beige's dad, bro. That is. I didn't even think about that. Is he from the West? I mean, it's just the fact it says gangster. It's like, where's Beige from? Capone Gang Beige or Beige. West Blue. Yep, that's Beige's dad. End the debates. If there was any debate about it, that is Beige's dad. That is Beige's dad. For sure. This chapter just keeps getting better, bro. I can't believe it. Like with every super chat, it gets a little bit better. Chris with the $2 super chat. KKL, because that's who I am. Kobe kills Luffy, right? I feel like I've gotten this mixed up so many times. Kobe kills Luffy. Hey, actually, I do want to say something about Kobe, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Specifically, while I was walking around Walmart, I thought about this a lot, which that's what I do whenever I walk around places. I think about One Piece. But I was thinking about the now that we know Rox is Blackbeard's dad, I think the Luffy and Kobe team up versus Blackbeard is inevitable. And now I'm not saying that's when Blackbeard will lose, because that might be where the parallel splits, because maybe Kobe and Luffy team up and just like stop Blackbeard from a certain thing, and then Luffy comes back later and actually defeats him for good. I think something like that's going to happen. But I think that parallel is locked in. That's got to happen, right? Because like Roger and Garp team up versus Rox. Now we're gonna have Luffy and Kobe team up versus Blackbeard. I think that's locked in. I think it's got to be. Although I do agree though that Kobe will capture Luffy and like defeat him, quote unquote, for a time period. Kobe's gonna get some love about capturing the Pirate King or something like that for sure. Mr. Bushido with the two euros. Marlon Brando, the Godfather, bro. I love this guy, dude. I liked Beige a lot when he was introduced because he was like a gangster guy. Like Oda does a really good job of bringing in like real life, comparisons like from different cultures and stuff from history and stuff. So I was a big fan of Beige, but Oda didn't really go into the gang part of it, right? Like we didn't learn a whole lot about what his gang was like in the West Blue and all that. But now that we're potentially meeting Beige's dad and we're seeing that the gangster line has gone back, I'm wondering maybe we'll get a little bit of that now. I would really like to see that. We know Beige operates that way and his whole crew has that aesthetic, but I want to learn more about exactly what he was doing. And I feel like Don Marlin here might be the person to show us how the family started, right? How the mob group really began. Spencer, you said Gangster Gastino stocks. Hey, man, those stocks have always been up, man. Gangster Gastino, he's going to be a Yonko one day. He reminds me of Senor Pink, Duran Ross says. Interesting. Yeah, because he was kind of that way too, right? He's like a mob guy. Now, obviously, he transitioned into a completely different aesthetic later on in life, but you're right, that is a good comparison. I feel like for sure. Also, I'm gonna read the rest of the super chats, but Alex A, you also said Smuggler Guy could be Apu's dad. I didn't really think about that, but the hair, let me go back up. The hair is somewhat similar, right? Like, it's just like a long ponytail thing. That's the only connection I can really think. Well, I guess, hold on. Let me... Because it would make sense that, like, if Ochoku is really Caribou's dad, and, like, Bushido, I know you've talked about this a lot, and I think Par did a video on it too. I know I've talked about it too, but if Shiki is Killer's dad, then maybe we just have a whole parental thing here, because we know that Whitebeard and Miss Buchan are Weevil's parents. Now, is it like a normal kid? He's made in a lab. We got to figure that out, but that's the situation for now. So it might be Killer's dad right here, Weevil's dad right here, Gang Beige's dad right here, Weevil's dad again, Caribou's dad, and maybe Apu's dad, maybe? I guess Apu also has, like, little circular goggle things on his hat. At least he did during Wano, which, like, he has circular glasses. That's, like, a little bit of a reach, but the long ponytail, maybe. So I'm not sure about that one, but, I mean, I don't know who else it would be. And then, obviously, Rox is Blackbeard's dad. So I think these are all just going to be parents of other pirates, for sure. Let's see, where was I at? JR Writer 203 with the $10. This chapter ends 44 years ago when Kaido was 15 and had the recruitment convo with Whitebeard. That is really interesting. Okay, and then what else you gotta say? Hope next chapter we get some kind of Kaido, we get some Kaido and Rox, and maybe the Roger Rox clash a year before God Valley. Dude, that's a crazy connection. So 4 years passed. Harold continued rejecting the numerous invitations he received until one day. Okay, so pretty much right when Rox finally made his crew, that's when they brought Kaido. And is that a purposeful thing from Oda to have Rox invite Harold, and Harold continually reject him over and over, but then right when Rox's plan comes to fruition and they make a flag, he gets Kaido instead of Harold? Because if Harold is Kaido's dad, going back to this whole parental situation, then I think it's Oda saying, like, you know, Rox kept trying to get Harold, but then he got the next best thing, you know? And so I think that timing might be important. Because, like, once this stuff happens, maybe he stops going for Harold, because once he's, like, a full-fledged pirate crew, and he's a well-known bad guy and all this stuff, then it'd be a lot harder for Harold to work with Rox, because, like, he already said that, right? He's like, that's gonna ruin my reputation with people, I'm not doing that. And so, maybe after this point, Rox figured, okay, well, now I know he's never gonna do it. But then Kaido shows up, and he gets the next best thing. I think that's a good idea. I think it's a really, like... Just from Oda's perspective, if Harold is going to be Kaido's dad, that'd be a good way to kind of weave it together so their paths don't cross, essentially. Because, like, if Rox kept going back or kept calling Harold and Kaido's there, it's like, that might lead to Kaido discovering that that's his dad, assuming Kaido doesn't know, if that theory's even true. So it might make sense to separate them. I don't know. J.R. Writer, that's a really good catch, man. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Juan Martinez, member for 10 months. Like the stream, ninjas. Guys, please. If you guys haven't liked the stream already, I would implore you to do so. It does make a difference. Every single one, every single like makes a big difference to the algorithm, so I would appreciate it. Thank you, Juan. Also, member for 10 months. Bro, almost hitting a year already? That is awesome. Mr. Bushido with the €5. You can say relation piece is unnecessary, but Oda keeps doing it. But I think Kid is a Fagarland. Well, when I say relation piece is unnecessary, it's not that, like... the relations aren't going to happen. It's just like sometimes Oda can create a parallel that doesn't necessitate them being like father and son. Like, you think about Luffy. Luffy never even met Roger. He's not Roger's kid, but he exudes a lot of the same ideals that Roger has, right? And there's even some panels, like, I'm sure you guys have seen that, the one where, like, Luffy's in Gear 5th smiling, and, like, you can almost cut it in half with Roger laughing at Laugh Tale, because, like, Luffy's that kind of guy. He's always smiling, laughing, happy, whatever, does things the right way for the most part. So I guess whenever I say that, it doesn't mean that all these people don't have to be related, but like for the Rocks and Buggy thing, for example, it doesn't even matter if they're father and son. I mean, it matters in the sense of, I mean, people would want that theory to be correct, or it might be cool to people, but I'm just saying, whether they're related or not, the parallels exist, and Oda's obviously building some connection between them. Is it just that Buggy's inspired by him? Is it just that it's like happenstance, like not even that he heard about Rocks, but just there's just like it's almost like well, I was gonna say like Usopp and Noland, although I think they're related, but if we assume they're not related, like Usopp, it was known as a liar and did some other things that were similar to Noland without even knowing who he was. And so like sometimes Oda does this where people just embody each other and they don't always have to be related. So that's why I mean it doesn't even matter, because like whether they're related or not, there's obviously a Buggy and Rocks thing, and there's plenty of other things like Rocks and Kid potentially. I mean, Bushu, I know you're a Kid guy, so I don't know if you're on that agenda, but yeah, that's all I mean is like it. Sometimes it doesn't matter because the parallels still exist. And you said Kid is a Figarland. That I'm not so sure about, but as I always say, if you get that right, I'm going to send you some flowers, Bushido, for sure. I mean, you've gotten a few big things right recently, so maybe I shouldn't discount it, but I doubt that. But I do think the Kid stocks are up, and pretty massively, I might add, pretty substantially. K Raven with the $10 super chat, I appreciate you. Emu implications are crazy. Kidnap the kings that control Emu. Are they a Uranus? With Davy Jonesian being a thing, do you think this increases the chances celestial dragons are fishmen / whale people? That last part has not even crossed my mind, so I got to think about that. As far as the kidnap the kings that control Emu, that it's really that's such a cool thing to me, because if I was a guy who was trying to bring the world to heel in a normal situation, capturing several of the world leaders would definitely be a good play, right? Like, if you go capture 5 kings that are recognized by the government and important nations and whatever, that's usually gonna cause some kind of reaction from the powers that be. But Emu's sitting here like, I don't care, bro. Do whatever you want. And that puts a lot of things into perspective. Like, I think a lot of people might have assumed that Emu would say that, because Emu is just an evil guy. I mean, Emu took over the world. He obviously doesn't care about the, people that much, other than the people that, are helping him. But it's cool just to see it. It's cool for Rocks to do it, because that is something that someone of his caliber and his supposed intelligence, if we're tying it to Blackbeard, because Blackbeard's like a mastermind, planner type guy. So if Rocks is similar, he should do stuff like this. So I think that's really smart. And for Emu to respond that way, like it's just cool, man. It's so awesome. Like you said, the implications are crazy. And then you said, are they a Uranus? Do you mean like can they be used to control the weapon? I assume you're implying that Uranus is the Lelucia weapon, which I've said on this channel. I'm not fully on that agenda. One of the videos I'm gonna do is actually about Loki being Uranus, and if you think that's crazy, you need to check out the video, because I got some stuff, trust me. And it might not be that Loki himself is Uranus, maybe like how the Sea Kings aren't Poseidon, but they're the strength of Poseidon. It could be a similar situation. But regardless, that's from beside the point. I know you're talking about that weapon, which is the important thing. So are you saying that those kings could be used to control that weapon, just like the theories where like Lily might be used for that? Is that kind of what you're I'm implying that Uranus is Emu. Okay. Oh, so the they is Emu. I thought you meant they as in the kings. Now you're saying they as in Emu, because Emu's gender is kind of ambiguous so far. So okay, now I get what you're saying. I mean, I want to say no, because I feel like the ancient weapons live in opposition to Emu. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like the ancient weapons were left by the good guys. Like, maybe created by bad guys originally, but it seems like with Poseidon being a good person, it's like, or Shirahoshi, I guess, that makes me think that the ancient weapons are all like gonna help the good guys. So I would say no. Now, unless, that theory where Emu is in Lily's body and Lily controls it, so it's like a force thing, maybe. I'm I'm not too big on that theory personally, although I'm not going to deny that there's merit to it and it's a solid theory. But I personally don't think Oda's going to go that way. Branks, you said, didn't we see a female emu? We haven't. I think emu's a he, in my opinion, until further notice, because emu is given male celestial dragon kanji. It's the same thing where, like, maybe not the same thing. I'm not an expert, so somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But in volume 112, they updated Gunko's intro box to add like a female honorific to say she's like a saint or whatever. And I think emu gets the other one, where it's implied that emu would be a male celestial dragon. So I think emu's a male, but that could also be Oda just defaulting to male and, you know, just to like hide it for now, or maybe the people don't even know. Maybe they think emu's like an it, and so they just default to he. I don't really know. Dexter, you said that is correct. All right, awesome. Dexter would know. So if Dexter says I'm correct about a certain translation thing, that means a lot. So it seems like emu is male for now, but I don't think that's like a definitive thing. Oda could change it, but for now I assume he. Male AI robot. Honestly, Alejandro Solis, honestly, that is not the craziest theory I've ever heard. Let's see. K Raven, you also said, do you think this, with Davy Jonesian being a thing, do you think this increases the chances celestial dragons are fishmen or whale people? I have to think about that more. Because I think the fishman theory has always been good, or at least that, like, you know, maybe they're related to fishmen, like, kind of like how Chimney is part fishman, but you wouldn't know unless, I mean, maybe if you saw her swim, but normally you wouldn't be able to tell just from, like, normal features. So I think it could be a thing where they're, like, part fishmen, or maybe they're, like, all a certain type of fishmen, you know, because fishmen are obviously normally all sorts of different types of fish, so maybe they're one type. You know, I've always liked that theory. And the whale people make sense because of the whale tail style hair, or at least I think it looks like a whale tail. Maybe you could argue it's other things, but I think that's accurate. So, does it increase the chances? I don't know if it increases them, because they were already decently high, I feel like. Because it also says the man claimed to be a Davy Jonesian pirate, meaning that Rocks is more tied to Davy Jones than them. So I don't know, but regardless, I mean, hey, I think that theory is likely either way. Echo Falls with the 2 pounds. Copy Zebek into translate on detect language. I'm gonna try it. Maybe hold on. Maybe I have to copy paste. Well. Give me 1 second. Well, I can't. The thing is you have the thing above the B. You know what? I can go over to my name on YouTube and copy that E, because it has the little mark above it. There it is. Give me 1 second to figure this out. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but every time I hit translate, it doesn't do anything. What? It's, I don't know if I'm messing up, but every time I hit translate, it just doesn't go. Here, let me just try this. Oh, here we go. No. Now I got it. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. So you said into translate on detect language. And it detects Vietnamese and translates it to truck in English, which I feel like is not what you wanted me to find. I feel like you had a different point. So if you want to type it in the chat and let me know what I'm missing, let me know, because I don't know. Let me just check out some other languages. Hold on. It's detecting Vietnamese, truck in English. It just keeps saying truck, which Zebek does mean. It's like a trading ship, so it's funny that it means truck in another language, because those are both like things that you would use to carry large amounts of goods, and I think that is really funny. I don't know if that is what we were supposed to go for, but 1 second. Well, I'm gonna go over here. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Lots of people are live right now. That's crazy. There we go. Okay, now we're back. That was weird for a second. I had to pull up Chrome. You guys know how it is. Chrome was like not happy about anything I was, Firefox was not happy about anything I was doing. And then I switched over to good old Chrome, and Chrome's happier. But the thing is, if I go to TCB on Chrome, I'm cooked. If I go to TCB on Google Chrome, because they got rid of uBlock Origin, I think. So I would have got cooked. Tiny Angry Gnome, you said it translates to buggy. Echo Falls says buggy. Interesting. Echo Falls, you said don't use the Google Translate website. Well, is detect language a website? Is that what you meant? Because there's a detect language. Like if you go to Google Translate, the first thing says detect language. So I assume that's what you meant. I don't know if that's another translator. But yeah, it translates to truck for me. So I'm not sure, but I see other people saying it's okay. I can't pull up the chat. Where did it, bro? There it is. Okay, I have like a million tabs open. Yeah, Forrest TCB. People are saying translates to buggy. Interesting. So the fact that I'm not getting that on Google Translate is giving me a little bit of pause about the legitimacy of this, because if it's translating it only on one certain site, I don't know if that is gonna work. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's just like a self-serving, especially because it's 2 words. I don't know. Not to take away from any of the buggy. Like I said, the buggy parallels are obvious, but I'm not sure if that is the most moving piece of evidence. Because, like I said, if it's not going to do it on Google, I'm not sure. Well, actually, the reason it translates to buggy on the other website is the same reason it translates to truck on Google, because it's like a horse and buggy, right? I'm assuming. Because that would be like a carrier that you're pulling something behind to transport goods with, right? So it's the same thing as horse. It's the same thing as truck, and it's the same thing what Zebek normally means, which is like a trading ship to carry large amounts of goods. So I think that's probably more so what it's going for, because buggy is just, I wouldn't say buggy is a synonym to truck, but it's kind of close. I imagine that's why it's giving you that translation. Again, I don't want this to take away from the buggy parallels. They're obvious, but I don't know if this is necessarily the most moving. He said, according to a Viet guy, he said it's part car and part bug, which creates buggy. Yeah, so I assume that's like horse and buggy. I think that would have to be... I think that has to be what it's going for. Right? Because truck is the same thing. It's still interesting, though. I don't know. Again, I don't know if it's the best evidence of all time, because there's already tons of other evidence, but that is interesting nonetheless. Also, I see Dilcor in the chat. Bro, Dilcor, this chapter, it's crazy. You know, I know I sent you some audio for a different video last night, Dilcor, that we're working on. I mean, keep working on it, but I'm gonna have to do a video on this one. And we also have a break, so I got more time to do one. So we're gonna have to do a nice video on this one. But anyway, Echo Falls. Interesting thought, nonetheless. It's very interesting to think about. If Buggy does end up being related to rocks, then we can look back on this. But regardless, the parallels are there. So there's something with Zebek and Buggy going on. The bounty poster is like dead on Buggy. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Davy Joan Pirate equal Morgan Ears. Joy Boy equal Peacemain. I think I agree with that. I think that's what it's going for. And you know what? Now that you brought up the Davy Jones thing, I'm gonna go back to earlier because I got some DMs about this. So Davy Jonesian was I'm trying to paraphrase this. Davy Jonesian was highly debated in this chapter for the translation. I'll say that. That is the word on the street that I'm getting in my DMs right now. Is Davy Jonesian was very, very much debated if that was the right term to use in the chapter. And the idea is that they needed to suggest he followed the way of Davy Jones and had admiration for his methods without suggesting he was a part of a group or implying too much about Davy Jones's background. The translators really thought the solution was more elegant than doing a different way, basically. I'm not going to read the rest of it. And so they needed to suggest a way for Davy Jones and had admiration for his methods without suggesting he was part of a group. Interesting. So the Davy Jonesian line is, I don't know if I should say, I don't know what the right word is. Like, I was gonna say like self-serving to rocks. Like they're trying to hype up that like was Davy Jones directly hinted at with this, or is it just like I'm curious if the kanji literally says Davy Jones. That's the main thing I'm curious about. But it makes sense that this would be like a tough to translate thing. Because so I assume that's why it says Davy Jonesian pirate, because it's like he's one that believed in Davy Jones's ways, but not that he is related to Davy Jones or in a Davy Jones crew or in a cult of Davy Jones. It's more just that he believes in his way of doing things. So it does say Davy Jones. So a more literal translation of Davy Jonesian from a very, very reliable source is, a more literal translation would be a devotee to Davy Jones. So someone devoted to the Davy Jones mission, maybe not even mission, but to the Davy Jones way of doing things. So that's an interesting way to practices the Davy Jones way, Carlos said. I like that way. I like that. Also, Kusoland went up. Kusoland, why don't you have a wrench next to your name? Whose fault is that? Someone's in trouble for not putting that wrench next to your name. Yeah, it was straight up Davy Jones and not kanji since it's a foreign name. Oh, whoo, man. I love when y'all come in here and give me the translation stuff that makes me even more excited. Because like it could have been easily phrased to say like Morganeer, right? Or just like evil, selfish pirate, and it could have been like self-serving to put Davy Jones just to hype it up. But if it actually said Davy Jones, hey, appreciate the wrench of power. Absolutely, absolutely. You have awakened your magnet fruit, Kusoland. Which to some people that is not a compliment, but in this case it absolutely is. Nico Vento, he said, yeah, I wonder if it means the lineage of Davy Jones or just acting like him. Seems like it means acting like him. Like, just a belief, like, you could, maybe you could say Luffy is a Rogerian pirate. Maybe that's like a good parallel to think of, is like Luffy is doing things the Roger way. I mean, he's doing things his own way in certain cases, but he's obviously abiding by most of the Roger way of doing things. It seems like that's a pretty good, a pretty good comparison, I would say. Kusoland, is there a return policy? You gotta go get Divine Departured by Shanks to get rid of your wrench. That's how Kid did it. So, you take your pick. Take your pick. Once you eat the magnet fruit, it's either you're stuck with it or you get Divine Departured. So, yeah. So thank you for the context. Appreciate you guys. That helped a lot. That is, I'm definitely gonna mention that in whatever video I do, because I've said this the last few chapters, but this one I'm actually, I have to do a video on it. Like, it's not an option. I am stuck in this cage called my office until I get this video done. I have to. Mr. Bushido, or wait, I already read that one. I already read the Morganeer one. Sorry about that. Adam Murray, member for 21 months. Adam, I appreciate you. I'm guessing Gunko wouldn't be the current servant. Yeah, so that's another good thought. I think that's likely, but also, like I said, Gunko should be like 70 now, and she does not look 70. She looks 20, 30 years old. And so she could still be the current servant, because if she doesn't age, what's stopping her from being the servant forever? And then you'd have to wonder, well, Gunko probably hasn't been living since the dawn of time. We saw Gunko as a little kid with Brooke, so we know Gunko was born, you know, this in the last century or so. And so there had to have been a servant before that, or we can probably presume that. So I'm not really sure. This Gunko thing confuses me. I think the odds are it is Gunko, but I don't want to close the door completely to all of the servants having an eye like that, because maybe they have to get an eye replaced for Emu to control and stuff. Like, maybe that eye, like, what if the servants and Gunko aren't natural-born celestial dragons, and so what Emu does is put an eye of a dead celestial dragon, or, well, I guess they don't have to be dead. You could remove it from a living one, like from Naruto or whatever, but maybe they have to, like, put in a celestial dragon eye, so then Emu can control them, so they actually have celestial dragon blood in them. Like, if they don't have anywhere in their body, then Emu can't do it. I could maybe reason that, so all the servants have had heterochromatic eyes. I don't know. Like I said, I think the easy money is that it's on Gunko, but I don't think we should 100% bank on it, because the age is weird. I don't know. Prainy Nika, you said, hi, fan from Algeria. Dude, I love you. Thanks for the long ring, long land theory. Dude, I'm so pumped I have a viewer from Algeria. Genuinely. That is awesome, dude. No, thank you for coming in here and saying that. And thank you all for watching and enjoying all the videos, because now it feels like we're eating, you know? I feel like now this is... If you were a fan of some of those theories back then, or even the theory that the D... Oh, we got to talk about that now that I think about it, because I've been saying forever that the D stands for Davy. And now we have Emu saying, well, the narrator saying the man claimed to be a Davy Jonesian pirate. I know that the translation says, like, devoted to Davy Jones, but could it be Oda implying that the D is for Davy Jones? So when it says claim to be a Davy Jonesian pirate, what if it's... What if the reason Rox has devoted his life to Davy Jones, or the way of acting like Davy Jones, is because he figured out the D stands for Davy Jones, and he has the D in his name, so he understood it's his role in the world to go carry this out. Because like, it's easy just to call everyone a D clan member, right? Oh, they're a member of the D. They're a member of the D. But Rox obviously knows a lot of stuff. And so if Rox came in saying, hey, I'm Rox D. Zebek. No, actually, I'm Rox Davy Zebek. And then Emu knows, okay, so he knows what the D means. And so that would be why it's phrased this way. Oh, he's a Davy Jonesian pirate, because Emu's not going to say D clan, because we've already moved past it. Like, we didn't see them say that, but maybe that's what happened. So Emu's thinking more, oh, it's not just that you're a D clan, you're a Davy Jonesian pirate, because you actually know what it means and you're abiding by it. I love that idea. I love that. Stocks are up. Stocks are up. Elia, you said, and that's why he was practicing Davy backfight games. Because remember, Davy Jones, the story that Oda told us is that he was a selfish pirate who kept all the treasures for himself, and his crew, like, hated him and stuff like that. Here, we're kind of seeing the same thing. Like, not that Rox is necessarily keeping all the treasure for himself, but I think we are going to see that, because remember, we know that the treasure of Hachinosu got taken, which, after hearing about this bunch of gold and stuff, maybe there's like a little something to say about that treasure now. I don't know if it's the gold or maybe something they bought with the gold, but regardless, I've been saying for a while that it could be the devil fruits, which maybe they got all that gold and exchanged it for money and then bought fruits with it, so that way, like, it's more useful, maybe something like that. I don't know. But remember, it God Valley, you saw the pirate, like all the Rox pirates saying, like, I'm gonna get it for myself. Big Mom's like, I'm gonna take it, and then Kaido's like, it'd be useless in your hands, because we saw she went for the devil fruit and she already has one, so she can't eat two at a time, so that's why it's useless. But all of that has always led me to believe the treasure is just the fruits. And if that's true, then that kind of tells us that Rox wasn't giving them to his crew because his crew's sitting there saying how bad they want them, right? Like, Kaido didn't even have a fruit yet, and he wasn't able to get the dragon fruit till he got it from God Valley. So if Rox had it the whole time, but he was just hoarding them himself, that is very Davy Jones-esque. So that's a cool connection. Guys, we got a lot cooking right now. Like, seriously. Tiny Angry Gnome, you said, Gonzui is a smuggler. Remember my theory about the Atomwood? I don't remember your exact theory about the Atomwood. Your theory that I always remember is the Bell theory, but remind me of the Atomwood one. But I think that's interesting. You know, I was saying that Rox was gonna talk to Harold about doing some international trade stuff, like making money together, but no, this was completely different. But I still think some of that stuff's on the table separately, but anyway, I got a few more super chats. I'm an hour behind. All right. I gotta hurry up. My bad, guys. My bad. I read Adam Murray. RQ, member for 8 months. Don Marlin is 100% Krieg's dad. No questions. That's true, because it says Don. Well, I'm like, does Don have to be a family thing? Like, can you be called Don something for a different reason? Because, like, we also have Don Sai and Don Chinjiao, and now Crap Cafe had a really good theory about Don Krieg, Don Sai, and Don Chinjiao being related in a certain way. Like, maybe Don Krieg got, like, kicked out of the Hapo Navy. I can't remember the exact theory. I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, but I remember that. And it was a great theory. So I'm not sure. Does Don, like, I don't know if this is accurate, but to give you guys a little DAC flashback here. So I loved Spanish class in high school, right? I took Spanish all 4 years. I did what was essentially honors Spanish. Technically, our Spanish 4 just was honors because you didn't have to take it, but whatever. So I love Spanish. And all 4 years, my name in Spanish class was Don Diego, or Don Diego, that's a better way to pronounce it. And so Diego is more so the name that I would have. Like, my real name's Dakota, so Dakota and Diego, I guess that's as close as you're going to get. I don't think there's really a Dakota name in Spanish, but the Don part means, like, sir. It doesn't mean, it's not like part of my actual name. It just meant, like, Sir Diego, essentially. So I don't know if it's the same here, where it says Don Marlin, and it's not that his name's actually Don. I don't know if it's the same thing as Don in Spanish, where it just means, like, sir. Don is an honorific, I think. Don is a mafia title, is what I'm reading. So, yeah, that feels more accurate, because there's so many Dons that we've met. So I'm thinking more that way. It's a title, Dexter says. Okay, so it doesn't mean that they have to be related. Okay, I think that's good context. I'm still going Beige's dad for now, but all these Dons, I wouldn't be shocked if they were connected in a way, like not related, but like I feel like that's a thing Oda would do just for fun, just to have all the Dons interconnect in some way and be like, wait, like the Spider-Man meme, wait, I'm Don this, you're Don that? I don't know, something like that. That is interesting though, either way. Bean Boy with the $2. Oh, well, I see Bean Boy, this is why I just need to read the super chats. By the way, Don is an honorific for a mob boss. Well, there you go. See, Bean Boy always has my back. I just get too deep into the weeds here. John Stoops with the $5. I'm excited for more rocks, but I'm excited to see how the Lola Loki thing is gonna go down and how Oda's gonna tear our hearts out, bro. There's a lot of stuff I'm excited for in Elbaf. I can't rank them at this point, because like I need to see some Nolan stuff. That's actually a video, it probably won't be out over these couple weeks, but that's a video that I started scripting that's just like what to expect from Nolan and Elbaf, or maybe I'll phrase it more like what is the future of Nolan's character. I don't know, but I just want to have a Nolan video, because I think we're about to find out, and I have a lot of cool ideas on how he's gonna tie into it. But beyond that, one of my next highest rated things that I need to see is the Lola and Loki thing. I love Lola. I mean, you guys have heard me say it before. Like Whole Cake's my favorite arc in the story. Elbaf might take the crown by the end. It hasn't yet, but it's definitely getting there. But I love Whole Cake and Lola. I know, well, Lola really wasn't in Whole Cake, but we had Chiffon, obviously. But Lola's tied to Whole Cake because of that. So the whole Big Mom storyline, from Mother Carmel and Big Mom to this relationship with the Giants, to the Loki and Lola thing, not just because of those two and how Oda will tear our hearts out and we'll learn more about Loki through that, but I need to learn more about the political logistics of it, because that marriage probably happened in between Harold dying and Loki getting tied up. So the Giants did not like Loki at all, nor did they like Big Mom. So how did the marriage proposal happen to the point to where Big Mom was under the assumption she was going to get the giant army? Because the Giants should have been like, hey, we're not going to listen to Loki because we already don't, because we don't like him. We're not going to listen to Big Mom because we already don't like her. So why would the two sides joining equate to them having to go be her military, right? I think it has to be with the elders that we saw from a few chapters ago, like the people who put the Estrid thing together, but I need to see that. I have to see what the logistics were. Like, obviously Loki's emotions are part of it, but also, like, how did that even happen? You know, how did we get there? So yeah, John, I need it, dude. I need it also. You'll see me probably just as excited as I was this chapter when we get that stuff. Alejandro Solis with the $2. Elbath over Egghead. Elbath over Egghead if we get more 15 out of 10 chapters soon. I got Elbath over Egghead already. I like when people talk about Wano, it's a little more iffy, but hold on, wait. Double Low Flevins, my guy, with the 10 gifted memberships. W's in the chat for my guy Flevins, bro. I appreciate you. This is such a joyous occasion, Flevins. This was for the whole community in general. Like, this chapter is game breaking for a million reasons. I couldn't sit here and even, I'd be here all day if I was trying to give you all the reasons. But for particular, I feel like my channel or anyone who subscribed to some of the theories I've had, because the Davy Jones, bro, this was a special week. So thank you, Flevins. I appreciate you, brother. That means a lot. I'm glad you could be here as well. Glad you could take some time from whatever your OSRS grind is currently, because I know it's hard to step away. I've been there. But maybe you're AFKing right now, unable to make the stream SMH work. Okay. So you're not AFKing on OSRS. You're unfortunately AFKing an IRL work, but that's all right, Flevins. I appreciate you for sliding in, man. Seriously, that means a lot. That really does. Hope work's going all right though. Mr. Bushido with the €5. Wang Ji looks like Caribou, Red King, and Devon fused together. Hold on. Yeah, you know, if you told me Ochoku was Red King's dad, I mean, he's got the chins, bro. That's crazy. He does have the chins. So Rox beat Whitebeard on a fight. Garp became a Marine to hunt Rox. Yeah, so Rox beating Whitebeard, like here's the thing though, with the way a Davy Back fight works, he doesn't have to beat any of these guys, because if he just wins the first 2 rounds, there isn't even a combat round, because it's best 2 out of 3. If you win the first 2, then you don't fight, right? So he doesn't even he wouldn't have even had to beat all these guys, and conversely, if they weren't the captains of their past crews, then he probably wouldn't fight them at all. Like, Whitebeard would have fought in the donut race or the groggy ring fight, right? So I think that's interesting. I think Rox is strong enough to have defeated all of them, and it would not shock me if he did defeat all of them, and that's what kind of forced them to listen, because it's like, I mean, dude's gonna beat my ass if I don't obey. What am I supposed to do? You know? So I think that's most likely, but I think it is interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if Oda does a mixed bag, where, like, he just washed some weak crews and took people. Maybe sometimes the crew was really strong and Rox actually had to defeat a strong person and had a hard time. I think there'll be a mixed bag of events here, but I really, really hope we see it. Like, if we don't actually see some of the Davy Back fights, I will be kind of sad. That'll just force me, I guess, to go do a video on what all of the fights were like. But I really hope we see, like, he probably can't show all of them, but, like, I really want to know what crew Whitebeard was on before Rox. What was Shiki doing before Rox, right? Because, like, we know what Big Mom and Kaido were doing for the most part, but what were these people doing, right? God, dude, it's such a good chapter. Mr. Bushido, already read that one. Sorry about that. PK Buggy, my guy. Great video recently, by the way. Go check out PK Buggy's channel if you haven't already. Why do you think Rox raided Marijois? My interpretation here is that he was trying to become king of the world by subjugating Emu. Like, I think he went in there like, all right, I'm going to go during the reverie while all the kings are there. I will kidnap / threaten / harm a certain number of kings, and I'll keep doing that until Emu gives in and lets me take over or whatever. And I think that was the plan the whole time. But Rox obviously got to where he wanted. He met Emu. But it seems like Rox does not believe he can beat Emu. If Rox could beat Emu, I'm sure he would. And he can't extort Emu out. Like, Emu does not care about those kings. That does not move Emu. So Rox is like, all right, well, I can't politically force you. I can't physically beat you. So I'll be back. And that's what he said. And, you know, I'm glad, now that you said that, Buggy, it makes me think. Could Blackbeard getting the dark fruit be all about beating Emu? Right? Like, did Rox leave here that day thinking, if I want to beat this guy, I need this specific power? And that's why Blackbeard made it his goal to get that fruit specifically, because there is no point in trying to become king of the world if you don't have that fruit, because you can't beat Emu without that fruit. Now, I'm sure there is another way to beat Emu, which will be Luffy Gear 5, Conqueror's Hockey shenanigans, Joy Boy Rope Hockey shenanigans. You know, there's going to be something. We saw Emu sweating when Joy Boy did the rope hockey, which I think is a good connection here. When the rope hockey happened, Emu's sweating. When Rox shows up and is standing in front of Emu, Emu's chilling. Which is, that's some important context. And so I don't know if Rox just doesn't have enough hockey, or if it's, you know, truly a Nika fruit thing. I don't know. But I do think Rox left this day planning to go get the dark fruit, and that would be the key. And maybe he just never was able to get it. I don't know. But I was going to say Emu at the top of the world, and in order to beat Emu, I'm going to have to get this specific fruit. It'd be really weird if, you know, Teach is on Whitebeard's crew looking for that same fruit, and Whitebeard didn't put 2 and 2 together. But I'm guessing Rox hid all this information. Because, like, you also got to think, like, did Whitebeard sail around this whole time and know about Emu and just didn't tell anybody? Or did he? Do all the Whitebeard pirates know about Emu? Did Roger know about Emu? Well, I guess after he went to Laugh Tale, he probably learned about Emu, I would imagine. I don't know, bro. Narukami said he also ran without even throwing a punch. Even Sabo tried it. Yeah, I mean, at least that we saw, right? Because he is holding the gun here, and part of me wonders if Rox, like, shot at Emu and it didn't affect him, and maybe did punch him and it didn't do anything, so maybe we're just seeing Rox sitting here after the fact, like, you know, right after all of his failed attempts, and that's why he's chilling, because he's like, dang, I really can't do anything to you. I think that'd be the coolest thing. Like, I'd have a hard time believing that Rox didn't try anything. But yeah, I mean, we did see Sabo try, and we haven't seen Rox, so I don't know. I really hope we do. I really hope we do. Chris with the $2 super chat. Final war arc without resurrection jutsu, please. Yeah, if Oda brings people back, it cannot be resurrection jutsu. I agree. That would take away from a lot of the amazingness of One Piece. I do not want to see Roger come back. I don't even want to see Zombie Piece again, which, like, in Thriller Bark, it was an isolated thing. It was cool. I don't even want to see that. But we will see some zombies, because Moria's not done, and also S. Gecko or S. Bat has probably the Shadow Fruit. We don't actually know that yet, but it was Paramecia, so it would make sense. So we're going to see the Shadow Fruit active, and we're going to see some zombies. But, like people have talked about, like, what if Moria gets Whitebeard's corpse or Ace's corpse and brings them back? It's like, let's just not do that, you know? Like, could it be cool? Could it make for an emotional thing? Absolutely. But I don't want to get into this resurrection piece. I'm good. I don't want that to happen. Like, maybe 1 or 2 people here or there could be cool. Like Alejandro, you said zombie Garp. Like, if it's just Garp, and like if he does get sold to the Cross Guild, which I've been saying for a long time, and Moria joins the Cross Guild and does turn Garp into a zombie, like that could be cool because it's more so hyping up Cross Guild and hyping up Cross Guild's new edition and stuff like that. But I do not want like zombie peace, you know, like I don't want to see a bunch of past heroes brought back, whether it's through zombies or some Brook stuff, right? I do not want to see that. Like, if we're gonna do anything, it should be the living people go to the underworld and see like you know in the Hercules movie where he goes down and he meets Hades, and I can't remember who he's trying to save, but he's trying to save the girl from the green vat of like all the souls swirling around. Like, if we go down to the underworld and get something like that, where Luffy goes down and he sees like Roger's soul in like a vat of soul juice, all right, like that's fine, you know, like it, because the souls go somewhere. We know that from Brook and whatever. But I don't want to see resurrection piece. So I agree with you, Chris. That's like Oda's gonna have to tread lightly, and I trust him to do it. Just like with the Toki time thing, like traveling in time is typically an L for most stories, at least in my opinion, and I feel like that's somewhat of a popular take. But he did it really well in a way that did not feel like we're, you know, screwing the story up. So, so I trust him here too. But it does feel like resurrection, something is going to happen. You know, whether it's maybe just Rocks and that's it, and that might be okay if it's just him because Brook also came back. So it's like he's made it feel okay already. But yeah, I don't want a lot of people back. I agree. Mick Pulsar with the $5 super chat. I appreciate you, brother. Remember back to Mocktown, Luffy and Zoro referring to Teach said it's not him, it's them. And that's really interesting because I've heard a million times that what they're implying there is that it like his crew is around. Like it's not just him, it's them. Like he has a pirate crew and they're nearby. And some people have had some decent reasoning for it. I don't know if it was translation stuff. I can't remember. I just know that was the explanation that I've heard a million times. But I mean, look, like of all like the early like Oda foreshadowings that we're not sure about, like some people talk about the Whitebeard line where he's like he looks at Shanks and says like every time I look at you I think of his face or something like that. And like the early implication, which I still think is accurate, is Roger, but obviously with the Garling stuff, there's definitely that angle to it that it could be Garling now because Whitebeard would have met Garling and fought him, maybe if not even a one-on-one, would have at least clashed with him probably at God Valley. So like of those kind of early foreshadowings that we're now recontextualizing a little bit, that's the one that I feel like should or could make the most sense, is like that, like Blackbeard does have multiple people in him, and then whenever Luffy meets him, it's like, oh, I knew that since the beginning. You know what I mean? A. Waller, you said Rocks is still present in Teach. That's, like, the question just becomes, like, is Rocks driving the car that is Blackbeard, or is Rocks just alive but has no control? It's just like his soul is in there, not doing anything. Or like what's the mix, right? Because I don't want Blackbeard to just be a person who, you know, has been piloted by Rocks this whole time, because then it takes away from Blackbeard. But at the same time, there's a lot of merit to this, you know, this double soul thing, or Rocks is actually going to come back. So like I don't know how Oda's going to do it, because I don't want Blackbeard to be left in the dust in any way, shape, or form, but I don't know, man. The stocks are way up on the combo soul theory, or whatever you want to call it. Mr. Bushido with the €5. Marlin means little warrior, little hammer, and fortress. He is Beige's dad 100%, and Big Mom isn't part of the crew yet. That is actually interesting that Marlin and Big Mom would be on the crew at the same time. Like, even if she's not now, she would be later, right? Whenever God Valley happens, we presume. And it is interesting that, like, Big Mom and Beige's dad were on the same crew, and then she got Beige on her crew later. I think that's just a cool weaving of the world together, you know? I think that's awesome. But yeah, the little warrior, little hammer, and fortress thing, that's got to be Beige's dad, man. from the West Blue gangster. We know that there is like a crime family in the West Blue. Like if it's a family, which I know sometimes they use that in terms of like not just blood relation, but like kind of like a Yakuza thing. Like it's, you become part of the family when you join the gang sort of thing. But regardless, yeah, he's Beige's dad until further notice, I feel like. Just like, maybe it's not as confirmed, but just like how I think Harold is Kaido's dad, that's like, if it's not confirmed, Oda's got to at least touch on these connections, bro, because they look so similar. Vasil Vlad Ivanovici with the 10-pound super chat, rather. Zebek's "I'll be back" reminds me of Roger's "I won't die" partner. That is very true. Oda might be paralleling those two things, actually. That's a really good call out. That does sound very similar. This chapter convinced me that Blackbeard will kill Emu, which I agree with that. Live in the darkness, die by the darkness. Also, look at Buggy's and Zebek's posters. Yeah, I completely agree. The posters look the exact same. It's kind of like I said last week, like, they don't have to be related because the parallels exist. If they end up being related, it doesn't. I mean, it changes the fact that we know whether they're related or not, but it does not change any of the parallels that we already see. So I agree with that. Like, there is obviously a connection between the two. Because it's funny, last week, a lot of people said like the right side looks like Buggy's poster, or it's not. It's the Cross Guild poster, whatever. But he didn't have his tongue out, which Buggy did. But now he does here, just like Buggy typically does. So there's definitely a Buggy story going on here, whether they're related or just. It could also be that, like, Buggy's parents were friends with Rocks or got helped by Rocks, right? There's a lot of different ways that it can be hyped up to where Buggy ends up being like Rocks, you know what I mean? But also, I saw Dio Brando, you said Buggy's real name, Buggy D. Zebek. If only it worked that way, because it'd be Rocks D. Buggy if it was correct, right? Which also, you got to think about Blackbeard being Marshall D. Teach. He doesn't even have Rocks in his name, so I don't know how Oda's going to weave all that stuff together. I don't know. But there's definitely something with Buggy going on, that's for damn sure. McDonald's worker subscribed. McDonald's worker, welcome. That is an interesting name. I don't know. I was going to say I might go to McDonald's later. I'm probably not. Probably not McDonald's. I've been trying to avoid McDonald's at all costs lately. But I do like McDonald's. McDonald's breakfast, goated. Mr. Bushido, hold on. I gotta drink some water. Rocks is second strongest after Carrot confirmed. Well, Mr. Bushido, what I recommend is whenever we get around to doing the top 30 strongest, put Carrot at number 1, just so we can see how your rankings do. Like if I have the viewers vote on the rankings, like who has the best rankings, I'm very curious how yours would end up if you have Carrot at number 1. So let's try that and see how that goes. I want to see. It might work out for you. Maybe it's worth trying. AIM PDX member for 20 months, dude, almost 2 years. That's amazing, bro. Thank you. Got to go. Have a great stream, Dax. Bro, what a chapter. I'm an hour behind still. I'm like almost an hour and a half. I'm so sorry. But AIM, thank you so much. It might have been so long that you might have come back at this point. But thank you, bro. Seriously. It was an amazing chapter. Like, I can't give enough superlatives for how good this chapter was. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Rocks fought an admiral and not tired or injured. That's also true. Assuming he killed the admiral before getting into Emu's room, which I think is likely. Does it say it before that? Let me see. No, they said it. They hyped it up after, but I don't think that necessarily implies it happened after. So yeah, it probably did happen before this. So yeah, I mean Rocks is the GOAT, man. He's him. There's nothing else to say other than he's him. Rocky Port named after Rocks. Bushido, that's like, how did we not? Were there theories about that? I feel like that, like, maybe that it doesn't have to be that, but the fact that Rocks not only took over Hachinosu, but kind of made it into like the cool place that it is, or cool for most people, it would make sense that he had a port named after him. I mean, you got to remember, from my mole theory, part of the theory is that Mole Port is right above it, and so that might be a hint. So maybe they're naming the ports after the people that tie to the ports. And so if they do the same thing in Hachinosu, that would make that port Rocky Port. So maybe you're right. That's a good thought. Chris with the $2. Emu is the will of the ocean, but y'all not ready. I mean, like, I kind of I agree with you, but with an asterisk, because I feel like whenever people say this, I'm always like, there's like 10 different ways that you can mean this. Like you mean will of the ocean, like the ocean made a Klabautermon, and then that's Emu or something, which that's a really cool idea, but I doubt that's probably it, because, like, I mean, we've really only seen one Klabautermon in the story. Well, technically two, because didn't we see one, like, sitting on the Sunny, but, like, they didn't, but maybe it was only anime only or something. I can't remember, but we've only seen one major one, you know, like one canonical one that we talked to. But regardless, as far as the will of the ocean goes, like, if you mean that, that's like a little bit too much. But if you mean he's the will of the ocean in the sense of, like, just that Emu is the reason why Devil Fruit users can't swim, like, if that's actually true, then I could see that, because we know that that's, like, part of, like, it's only whenever they, you know, go into the ocean, so I could see that. Some people have said, like, Emu is the sea devil, and that is, like, the type of thing where I'm like, okay, explain further first, because, like, thematically, absolutely. Now, is Emu the sea devil, like, in a literal sense, where Emu just, you know, popped out of the ocean one day because they were angry at the way the world was? Like, there's going to be more to it than that. So I'm always, like, 50-50 on what people mean by that. But in general, Oda's definitely going for that parallel, I would say. Like, he wants Emu to exemplify the will of the ocean, maybe even to a degree the will of the whole planet, because you go back to, like, Enel's cover story, which I actually just went back through last night because I'm doing that cover story video. But what was I about to say with that? I had a connection. I can't even remember what I was going to say with that. I had a really good connection, and now I just totally blanked on. I'm like too far ahead of me. But regardless, all I was going to say was just, it depends on what you mean. That's the main plot line here. I really wish I remember what I was going to say, though, because that cover story, I noticed something last night. Now I just can't remember what it was. But I'm doing that cover story video, and, you know, I've talked about the cover stories a million times, and there's so much that I'm even finding out in my review of them that I'm kind of mind blown at some of the things that I didn't notice. But man, I can't believe I can't remember what I was about to say with Enel's cover story. So I just noticed it, like, literally like at 2 a.m. last night, or 1 a.m. Whatever time I sent you the files, Dilcor, whatever that was. I can't remember now. Regardless, Chris, I think you might be onto something. I'll just say that much. Wait, Donnie said no, Arlong is the Sea Devil. Honestly, he was. I'll say that he was, at least in the East Blue, because, I mean, bro, what was it? Was it Shark Gone Darts? What was that? Was that what it was? I can't remember. Whatever his attack was. If he's swimming around light speed trying to stab me with his nose, bro, I would say he's the Sea Devil. I'd be scared to death. Alexander Fiorello with the $2 super chat. I'm finally under the 1 hour mark. It's because they're all going back to the discussion on the TCB pop-ups that we had an issue with. Alexander says it's because they're all P ads. I can't read in public. Yeah, bro. That's what, like, TCB. If you're listening to me, which I don't know if you are, maybe one of your members are. We gotta chill on those ads, man. We have to chill. You can throw ads at us. It's just you can't get us in trouble, bro. After Cole's issue from a year ago, TCB should have gotten rid of those ads, but I don't know. TCB, that's my only issue. Like, I love TCB. I prefer their translations, but, like, the ads, man, we gotta chill on the ads. So Alexander, I agree with you. I'm with you 100,000%. I'll put whatever word in I can to stop those ads. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Dwayne The Rock Johnson equal Wayne D. Rocks Joneson. look, man, I know you're memeing, but it's hard for me not to like it, because if we're talking about, you know, Rocks and Davy Jones, that just gets me hyped. But hey, maybe Dwayne's parents, maybe the Rock's parents were on the Rock's Pirates. You know, we're talking about all these pirates who were parents of important people. Who's to say that the Rock was not a child of one of the Rock's pirates? I mean, it might be whichever member is the most devout to Rocks probably named him that, I would imagine. So you might be onto something. Also, shout out to everyone who subscribed. Oh, I got like a couple scrolls of subscribers here on Streamlabs. Major shout out. I seriously appreciate it, everyone. Thank you so much. Got a couple more super chats here, and then I'll just read the chat here for a little bit. I'm down to talk about this for a little while longer for sure. Debus with the Canadian $7. I'm excited to see what you got to say, Debus. I don't know if you watched the redacted video, Debus, but we brought up your buggy theory again and talked about it. And hey, I'm sure you saw that bounty poster. I know you're deep on the buggy theory, so that's a boost for you. But you said Rocks is like Hakuba. When Blackbeard falls asleep, he takes over. Maybe like hockey rope, but Rocks infuses hockey into Blackbeard's soul. So yeah, I really like that idea. That's a theory that's been around for a really long time. I know Growth Stonks, I don't know if you're here in the chat, but that, like, when I first started doing YouTube, pretty much like the first couple months, you know, I was playing Apex Legends at the time, and I remember I started playing with Growth Stonks for a little bit, who's definitely better than me, especially now, because I have not played since that day almost. But I remember Growth Stonks was pushing that theory that there's some connection, and in the video I did with Blackbeard, I said it's something similar, but it's more that I think he basically gets a Gorosei-esque transformation whenever he falls asleep, which could tie to this as well. It could be the same thing. My caveat is similar to the idea that, like, I don't want Rocks to, like, come back and prove that he's, like, in charge, or, you know, like, I don't want it to take away from Blackbeard. I feel like if the Hakuba thing is strictly just that he falls asleep and Rocks takes over, I feel like that would take away from Blackbeard a little bit too much, because then it's like it's not even Blackbeard who would be doing the most of the fighting. It's like it'd be Rocks who's doing most of it, right? Because anytime he's in trouble, he's going to fall asleep, and then he's going to make Rocks come out and he's going to save him, which I think Blackbeard falling asleep is how he scarred Shanks. I like whatever secret sauce he's got whenever he falls asleep, I think that is 100% the thing that, like, harmed Shanks and what stops Shanks from just going after Blackbeard right now, which he does seem to be chasing him, but regardless. So yeah, so I think you're definitely onto something. Like, the not falling asleep thing is definitely hinting that, like, when he falls asleep, something happens, and I definitely get the idea that it's Rocks related. I just, again, I don't, and maybe it's just what I don't want, and that's not always the best theory basis, but I really don't want Rocks himself to come back like that easily. Maybe if it was a thing where Blackbeard, you know, almost has to, like, I don't want to say sacrifice himself, because that's also going to take away from Blackbeard, but, like, if it was a more serious thing, like if Blackbeard can just fall asleep whenever he wants and bring out Rocks and then take back over whenever he wants, it's like, I don't know, like, that could be cool, but again, it'd feel a little weird if Blackbeard's ultimate trump card is just turning into Rocks, you know? But regardless, like I said, there is something going on with the sleeping thing. So I'm definitely on the Hakuba, like, parallel. It's just, it's not going to be the exact same. I feel like. DB said, "Oh yeah, love the redacted stream. Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you watched, because I think your theory was great. It's just, I was like, it was really long, and I was like, let me go on redacted and read the whole thing and see what Par says, because then also, I think it was RQ who was also in this stream. RQ had another, like, a similar thought, but he had like a couple extra points. So I was like, all right, let me merge these and see what everyone's got to say. So so I'm glad we could give some more love to that idea, because it's a really good theory, and so, you know, there's definitely, especially given this chapter with the bounty poster, it's a great theory. But yeah, about Hakuba, I don't know. We're gonna find out about the sleeping thing soon enough, for sure. Because that's, I don't know. I mean, going back to the other idea I had before I move on, because my idea was that Rox, or whenever Blackbeard falls asleep, he wakes up into like a zone transformation. So it's like the Gorosei, because the Gorosei, at least from what we know, they don't have devil fruits. They have very similar powers, but whenever they were introduced, it did not have a devil fruit next to them. And so until further notice, I'm assuming that they don't, because they needed the circle to transform. It's kind of like Shamrock with Cerberus, because that also did not say a devil fruit. And I would bet a lot of money that's not a devil fruit, because the way it like came out of the sword is nothing like Funkfried, right? Funkfried, the sword jumped out of was it Spandam? Yeah, Spandam had it. Whenever it jumped out of his hand, it just transformed into an elephant fully. It wasn't some black magic hockey stuff shooting out of the sword that made it, right? And he also never even let go of the sword, which would, like, if it's truly a zone transformation, you'd kind of have to let go. So anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying that what I think Blackbeard's doing is whenever he falls asleep, it activates a transformation, almost like how like zones take over people and like they can't control it kind of thing. But maybe what's happening... You okay, Cliff? Cliff got really excited, so maybe I'm on to something. Maybe what Blackbeard has, it could be a devil fruit, or could be the same thing as what the Gorosei do. But maybe he almost has a Rox zone transformation. And if that sounds really weird, I totally get it. But think about the Nika fruit, right? It's the Hito no Mi model Nika. And Nika's like this almighty savior. Would it not make sense for Rox or for Blackbeard to have a similar thing that's like the Hito no Mi model Rox? And again, it doesn't even have to be the fruit, but it's the same thing where like Luffy doesn't become Nika like he's still Luffy. He just has Nika's powers. Could it be the same thing where he's able to still be Blackbeard but have Rox's powers? So he gets Rox tier strength, but he's still like in command. That might work, I think. And again, I don't know. I don't think it would actually be a fruit. It'd be a Gorosei thing, so I don't know how that would all work logistically, but something like that could work, I think. Mr. Bushido with the €5. Abandoning people on islands was a common pirate punishment. They would give you a gun with 1 bullet so you can take your life when you lose hope. Okay, interesting. So tying to earlier with what the government would do. Yeah, and you know what else? That, because they also mentioned like you'd be starving. That also reminds me of Sanji a little bit. Whenever him and Zeph were left, not that it was like the government did it, but they were abandoned on an island and couldn't eat. And, you know, Zeph ate his leg and all that kind of stuff. And so that's like a reality of the ocean that hasn't really been touched on since then, I feel like. Like the crew... Like when the crew didn't have Sanji, there was that moment where they were going to Whole Cake and they're like, "Oh, I'm so hungry," and then Luffy like made some bad food and stuff like that. So like we've had little tidbits of people getting hungry on the open ocean, but that is a really cool thing that Oda brought it back in like a major way, where like that's the origin of Pirate Island, is it's a bunch of people who were left there to starve and die, and then they kind of banded together, you know. That's interesting. That's a cool callback to real life, Bushido. That's actually pretty awesome from Oda's perspective. Because like I said, that's why he did the Sanji thing, is it's a very real issue for people on the sea. And for him to bring that back in a major way, that's really cool. That is really, really cool. Chris with a $2 super chat. Hockey rope is a hint of DNA being a conduit of hockey. That's an interesting take. I didn't think about that, but like the way that like the rope is, you know, like it's a braided thing. Like a rope is actually like a bunch of strings braided together essentially, and like DNA like with the double helix thing. So I get what you're saying there with the way that they kind of embody the same kind of idea, like weaving things together, I guess. So that's cool. And so I guess you're kind of saying that maybe Blackbeard has stronger hockey because of Rox. And maybe you could even take it a step further and say like certain families can have stronger hockey than others because it's like it's almost compounding on itself. Like if Garp had really, really strong hockey, and then he has Dragon, and Dragon also has really strong hockey, not just because of Garp, because he's also training and he's really strong and a protege in his own right, then Luffy would have absurd hockey because he's the father of both those people. That that might be how Conqueror's hockey exists if that's the case. Like, what if it's like your family almost has to build it up over time, you know? Which there is a little bit of effect of that in real life. What is it? It's epigenetics, right? Is that the field of study? Epigenetics is the study of heritable traits and gene expression that occur without altering the underlying DNA sequence. Okay, so that was what I was thinking of, which I guess you're talking about altering the DNA, so it doesn't really work, but it's like epigenetics are like, you know, you're born with a certain DNA set, but sometimes the environment can push you to have different effects than your DNA would have otherwise done. And I feel like that could maybe be a similar thing where, like, maybe if you get stronger hockey in you know, your normal life, then your kids might be more prone to have stronger hockey. I think something like that would be cool. Also, major shout out to my guy Bean Boy with the 5 gifted memberships. Appreciate you. W's in the chat. I already see some W's in the chat for my guy. Thank you very much. For the long game fam, hey, my guy. Where have we? We're at 2.5 hours already. That's wild. That is wild. Bean Boy, I appreciate you. Welcome Mankey D Boss, Emir Burke, Cygnus, Central 99, and Shobin Joseph. Everyone, welcome to the Afro Gang on behalf of my guy Bean Boy. You know what, Bean Boy? Maybe I need to go get something with some beans in it. You know, actually, I went to Chipotle yesterday because I haven't eaten today, so I'm starving. I tried not to eat before streams, which is like a bad idea, but I don't know. I'm usually just so hyped I can't even think about it. And then the stream ends and I'm starving. So yesterday, I'll have you know, Bean Boy, I went to Chipotle and I got a bowl with pinto beans in it, and they gave me a big old scoop of pinto beans. So I don't know. Maybe I don't need more beans today because maybe I'm beaned out, but I do love me some beans. You know what? Actually, the taco truck up the street, they got some good refried beans. They put it in the burrito. Maybe that's what I'll do. So I am also a bean boy. Bean Boy, what's your favorite bean? Like edible bean. Like, don't give me like a mythical bean from like a story. Like, what's your actual favorite bean to eat? I'm curious. Because I know the black versus pinto beans at Chipotle when I was a GM was a hot debate, which, if you guys want to know, black beans are far more popular than pinto beans as far as like me ordering food from the food trucks goes, but pinto, I feel like they got a cult following, so. Rip sensu bean. Yeah, no sensu beans. I'm talking pinto. I'm talking lima bean. I'm talking black bean. I'm talking garbanzo bean. I'm talking all those beans. Pinto gang. Thank you. Is that a treat? Thank you. Thank you. I'm like, black beans are great, but I can't do both beans. So if I have to choose, I go pinto every time. Every single time. Anyway, Bean Boy, you let me know what your preferred beans are because I'm curious. I'm keeping an eye on the chat. Mr. Bushido with the €2. Join Discord. I beat you and Davey back. You join Carrot Team. It depends on what the Davey back battles are. You know, like if we did like a race, I'm probably good. But unless the race is like in my car or in cars, then I'm still probably good, to be honest with you. But I'd have a better shot. But if we're doing like weightlifting, I might have a decent shot, maybe. So it depends what the challenges are. But the threat of having to join the Carrot Team scares me so much that I might just turn it down. That's what Luffy should have done. Well, he won, but if he had lost, that's all Luffy should have done, is just say, no, I'm good. I'm not going to do the Davy back fight. But he, of course, was like, I'm doing it. Bean Boy, you said it's a rare green bean we grow in my area called boccia beans. Oh, hold on, let me. Now you know I got to do a quick Google. Whenever I look it up the way you spelled it, I'm not getting that, but I am getting a different one but how would you even Basicia beans? Is that how you say it? Basicia? Is that, at least that's the one that I'm finding. Basicia beans? Maybe I'm saying that wrong. I don't know. Well, you're calling like boccia beans. Maybe that's how it's pronounced and it's just spelled weird. I don't know. But yeah, they look like your typical green bean. So maybe they're, well, I guess I don't have a banana for scale, so maybe they're giant. But green beans are good too. Bachicha. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Bachicha. That's how that would be spelled too. Okay, so that's what you meant. Bachicha. Gotcha. Hey, well, green bean. I like me some green beans. Those look good. I'm not gonna lie. Mick Pulsar with the $10 super chat, bro. Thank you so much for all your donations, and to all of you, by the way. Seriously, that really means a lot, especially for how hyped this chapter was. This just popped into my mind. Dressrosa being a microcosm of the final war or final saga seems much more likely now, which I already agreed with this, and there was a lot of reasons to think it. So I'm curious what you're gonna throw on top here. Dofi's string control is Emu's Domi Reversi, and the bird cage is the rising sea levels. Yeah, so I'll start with the birdcage part with the rising sea levels, definitely, because basically, I mean, there's a little bit more to it, but the general idea is like Dressrosa figured out Doflamingo was the bad guy, and because Sugar passed out and all that stuff, so they remembered everything. So like there was no getting around the whole country knowing he's the bad guy, and so he's like, all right, well, if it's going to be too hard to reconvince you guys to just listen to me like you were before, I'll just wipe you all out, and then I'll get new people in here who don't know any better. And that is pretty much the Void Century in a nutshell, right? Because like that's why it's the Void Century. Emu does not want anyone to know the information that happened back then, but the people who lived back then would know it, so Emu probably had to get rid of them. That's why there's the Great Flooding, so that way everybody who remembered got deleted. Then they just have to go erase all the historical text, and then you get the same connection. And then Dofi's string control and the Domi Reversi is very interesting. I agree with that 100%. That's a parallel that I was talking about for a while, because the King Riku scene is like now that the Kuma stuff got animated, this answer might change, but until that point, the hardest scene for me to watch was the King Riku scene, where he gets controlled and goes around and hurts his own people, right? It's very much the same idea as Dory and Brogy, but almost reverse, where Dory and Brogy are being forced to go hurt their king, where the Dressrosa king was forced to go hurt all of his people, right? So there's a little bit of inversion, but 100% Mick Pulsar. Like, these parallels are undeniable at this point. That Dressrosa, and I think some other arcs do it a little bit, where they parallel the final saga, but I think Dressrosa more than any other, because that was also an island that was originally ran by the 20 Kings, but a bad one. So now we visited, Alabasta, which we saw had a good leader, and then Dressrosa, which had a bad. So now we have a little bit of each side of the 20 Kings kind of thing. So yeah, there's a lot there, Mick Pulsar. You're definitely onto something. And the Domi Reversi is kind of like the linchpin. I feel like that was like the final thing that I was waiting for, because Domi Reversi is that, but so is Emu controlling Gunko, I would argue, because that's another piece that I had a whole theory about it, but that's what I was thinking is like that Emu's going to be able to control people, right? Because Doflamingo did it, but he did it in a very physical and mundane way. I don't know if that's a mundane relative to what we've seen, not mundane in general, but like he just used strings and made him like puppets, right? He's like a puppeteer. But Emu is going a whole other level and like literally taking over their body. So, he's taking that just up another notch. So you're definitely onto something, Mick Pulsar. Chris with the $5 super chat. Blackbeard has 2 DNA. Since Devil Fruit or Hockey, this allows him 2 Devil Fruit. There are ways to get multiple DNA IRL. Would give 2 Hockeys, hence Luffy or Zoro saying them. That's interesting if he had 2 Hockeys and that's what led to it. Or 2 voices, you could also say, because like, not that they have established the voice of all things or anything at this point, but they also didn't really establish Hockey that well. Like, Luffy and Zoro weren't very knowledgeable on it, so I could go either way. Like, Hockey or voice of all things, voices, whatever. Like, they could have just sent 2 entities in there. But now I guess the idea of Blackbeard getting 2 DNA, the question is, like, how would that happen? Is it, like, for Mother Carmel and Big Mom, if we assumed that was true for them, then you would say, oh, it's because, Big Mom ate Mother Carmel and somehow the DNA's mixed and whatever. So like that's like an easy explanation. For Rocks, it's like, how does that work? So that's my kind of question to you. Is like how would Rocks even be hidden inside Blackbeard? You know what I mean? Like, you could because like you can, edit DNA in real life, like genome sequencing and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if Oda's going to go that deep, but like, especially with Vegapunk not being Vegapunk yet, he was alive, but he wasn't like a big shot yet. Vegapunk could maybe splice their DNA together or do something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would work, but that's the piece that I'm curious about, is how Oda would merge those two. Because like Blackbeard was like 2 years old when Rox died, so it's not that, you know, he's gonna eat Rox. Could it just be that, like, this is gonna sound really weird at first, but just hear me out. We've seen that hair and nails, right? I can't remember, are made to make or used to make Weaver cards, which tie to like your soul and confine your soul. Could it just be that like his hair or something was merged? Because like it's the same thing with Brook. Remember how Brook had strong roots, and so his afro is the only thing that lasted forever. So like there's a little bit of through line there thematically that like your hair never goes away, I guess is the idea. So is there like a hair thing? Because hair is also like a typical DNA testing sample. So I don't know if that could be it. I feel like I'm really stretching right now, but that's the ultimate mystery. I feel like, Chris. That's the one I don't know. Jamie Usher with the £9.99 super chat. Reckon Davy Jones is Joy Boy, and Joy Boy was just a moniker. He was the very first pirate, and we don't know what happened to him. Maybe he was cursed at the bottom of the ocean, like Robin said. Yeah, no, I'm with you 100%, Jamie. 100,000%. And this chapter probably pushed the stocks on that way higher. I don't know if you were here earlier, but we talked about the Davy Jonesian line potentially hinting that the D is for Davy Jones, which is a theory I've had for a long time, because we know Emu bitches about the D clan all the time. All right, that's Emu's biggest gripe with the planet, it feels like. Other than Lily's blunder, it's the D clan. And so if Rox knew what the D stood for, maybe that's why it's being said that he's a Davy Jonesian pirate, because it's a stand-in for a D clan pirate. Because you wouldn't say D clan if what the D stood for was already established, right? Like, we only say D clan because we're still learning it, but here, if Rox did know it, then it would be Davy Jonesian. So I don't know if you were here for that, but I think that could be a big piece to this. And so then that goes into the D clan part, or well, the Joy Boy part, I should say, that you're talking about, because this is something that I also said in a theory a while ago about the D clan. I don't remember exactly how I phrased it, but I do think Joy Boy is Davy Jones. And I think the joy in Joy Boy comes from Jones, and it might be from somebody like Ivankov, who created Luffy's other nickname, like Mugiwara Boy, right? He adds boy to the end. And so if you were to meet somebody named Jones, you might call them Joan Boy, right? If you're Ivankov. And that's like one little step away from Joy Boy, and that was my initial idea for it. And so his name, so he could just... And it's not even that his name has to be Davy Jones. It could be that his name is just Jones in general. Because remember, we also had Hody Jones in Fishman Island, who, you know, isn't like the craziest character at all or anything like that. But his name is Ho D Jones, which Ho Davy Jones. I don't know. And you guys might laugh at the Ho part, but Ho was also the whale, right? Ho the whale. That was like Neptune's whale. So I don't know. It's a little, maybe a little harebrained, but Hody Jones has to have some importance, I feel like. But basically, I think Joy Boy may have been something Jones, or just his first name is Jones. That led to the name Joy Boy. And maybe Davy is his whale, which has been my thought for a long time. Like, he had a whale companion. Maybe it's just that his name is Davy Jones, and that it's that simple. I don't really know, but I'm 100% on that boat. That Davy Jones was Joy Boy. 100%. Biori Gigi, one of the goats of the Discord, member for 8 months. Emu fears Zebek. Yes, sir. Well. I guess I should put a little bit of an asterisk. I don't know about fears, because Emu's sitting here saying, the lives of the sovereigns cannot be used to extort Mu. And Rox is like, no kidding. So clearly Emu is not feeling threatened or scared, but we did see Emu feeling threatened from Joy Boy's rope hockey. So I don't know. The fact Emu's not going after Rox is saying something, though. Emu clearly has a massive level of respect for Rox right here, for sure. Now, does he fear him? I'm not sure about that, but I can't believe this panel happened. Like, I'm just looking at it again. We got Emu and the butterflies. looking over at rocks. That's just not real. But yeah, Biori. There's something going on with like. I want to hear Emu talk about Zebek now. That's a big thing that I really, really want. I don't know like what context Oda would say that. Maybe when Luffy crashes into the flower room, Emu will be like, wow, the last person who did this was Rox D. Zebek. And Luffy's like, who? And I don't know how that would all go, but I need to see that. I have to. Mick Pulsar with the $5 super chat. Sugar turning people into toys forced to follow the contract without a will of their own might be the Abyss Mark analog. 100%. 100%. And also, Mick Pulsar, to build onto that, think about how Gunko didn't remember Brook at first, right? Like, those memories were wiped, which is a major, major plot line of the Sugar thing, because nobody remembered all the other toys. Or the people that were turned into toys, right? Like, their memories were completely wiped. And it seems like similar thing happened with Gunko, where her memories of Brook were deleted as well, because her remembering those memories is what made Emu jump in the first place. So that is a major point to where, like when Sugar got defeated, that was like a big code red for Doflamingo, and that's what really ruined a lot of his plans. That was like the first major point that had to kind of happen to get the people to join the Straw Hat side. And I think a similar thing is happening here where, like, yeah, Gunko was going to keep doing what Emu said until Gunko remembered everything. And then Gunko's like, wait, what am I don't want to help this person. What? But then Emu's like, no. I'm going to take you back over. So there's definitely that parallel too, for sure. And Domi Reversi, I think, connects to it as well, because it will, and the Abyss Mark analog, like you mentioned, but like, because that's obviously they're being forced into it, and like Dory and Brogy still seem to remember everything, but they're just acting completely different. So I feel like that might be more of a Betrayal Black parallel, which still in some ways ties to Sugar for me, because Betrayal Black was one of Miss Golden Week's powers, and Miss Golden Week was a little, well, she was a little girl who's older than you think, which is the same thing as Sugar, because Sugar's 28, it's just her fruit doesn't let her age. And Miss Golden Week looked like she was like 8 or like 10 or something, but she's actually 18 now. She was 16 in Little Garden, but she looked like she was like 10. So I mean, that's just more of a design thing. That's not like due to the powers, but regardless, all these like little girls with game-breaking powers are coming back, 100%. Chris with the $10 super chat. The voice of all things is Haki, and I kind of agree with that, again with an asterisk, but with inanimate objects, it's the Haki the artisan put into it, like the poneglyph. Reabsorbing a twin or bone marrow transplant gives extra DNA. Blackbeard first visited doctors. So as for the voice of all things, like the one like quote unquote inanimate object that we've heard the voice of all things from is a poneglyph, and I don't know if I would bank on that being as simple as an inanimate object. I don't know if you've ever seen Randy Troy's reassemble Joy Boy theory. Sorry. But the idea is, like, what if the poneglyphs are a person? Like, what if they were originally one person and they got turned to stone, and that's why they're indestructible, is it's somebody with, like, really strong Haki, where, like, nobody strong enough has come and, like, heard a poneglyph yet, because nobody is as strong as the original person, which, if the poneglyphs are all Joy Boy's body, that would probably be the best answer, because he was probably, like, indestructible, or, you know, nobody could really defeat him, I feel like. But then we also had the breath of all things in Alabasta with Zoro. But that, you know, the breath of all things, the voice of all things, are those the same? They're obviously related, and I feel like this is a really this could end up being a really long debate. So I don't want to get too deep into the weeds on this, but my opinion is that the breath of all things is for the inanimate objects, which is strictly detecting where they are. But then the voice of all things is more of the living thing. So now what you're saying, where like the artisan could put Haki into it, I like that idea. Like, but I'm kind of debating, because like if they did imbue their Haki into it, you would imagine it would look black, like how black blades, you know, they stay black permanently, which we still have to learn how all that works. But regardless, and when we saw the rope, didn't the rope have like a little bit of Haki imbued onto it? Like you can kind of see it. So that's like my one little caveat, is like the poneglyphs don't look like they have Haki, which that's not to rule it out, but that's why I think breath of all things is more detecting where inanimate objects are. Voice of all things is hearing living things. And then you also said reabsorbing a twin or bone marrow transplant gives extra DNA. So we talked about the reabsorbing a twin thing a couple times, and I don't want to spoil anybody, so I'm going to tread very lightly, but to anybody who read all of JJK, I think you would know what I mean when I say if Oda goes the reabsorbing a twin route for a major character, it's going to feel a little redundant. And so I don't know if Oda should go that route straight. And maybe Oda thought of this before JJK ever came out, but now that JJK is out, and other stories have done it too. This is not unique to just JJK. It's just that, JJK did a similar thing. I'm not going to say who or what the context is, but they did do a similar thing, and I do think if Oda did it, it would feel a little weird. That's just my opinion on it. But maybe I'm wrong, but I hope he doesn't go that route. You also talked about bone marrow transplant. Like that's possible, or some kind of transplant. Like I don't know if I can see Oda making the ultimate Rocks and Blackbeard interconnection being a bone marrow transplant specifically. Like maybe he did another one, but I feel like I don't know. Like what if they just swapped an organ of some kind? You know what I mean? Like what if the Op fruit user swapped out Rox's heart for Blackbeard's heart, which, like, if you have an adult heart in a baby's body, I don't, in real life, I don't think that's going to work. But, like, what if that was it? Like, he just swapped a body part, so then part of Rox is actually in Blackbeard, Like, I don't know. Something like that. And also, Blackbeard, you said Blackbeard first visited doctors. I'm not sure if this is what you were implying. I feel like it is, but I'm not sure. But the first place we saw him heard of him was Drum Kingdom, which is obviously the island of doctors, or at least that's how we think of it, because Kureha's there, Hyurluk was there, we got Chopper there, there was the 20 MDs, all that stuff. So that could be that connection too. So I don't know. I think you might be onto something, Chris. Again, I don't know if it's going to be a bone marrow transplant, but I like the idea that they just swapped some organs, or just one major organ. I don't know. Biori, you said, I think if Buggy had Zebek's fruit, Blackbeard would be tweaking out a bit more. Yeah, I'm glad somebody brought up the fruit thing, because we didn't see any powers here for Rox. I think we can pretty much rule out Rox having any major devil fruit that we've already seen, outside of like Enel's fruit could work. That was an idea Parvision had, because that was a fruit that was it's been away from the world, right? That's not one that people would, like, in the White Sea, people wouldn't be saying, oh, you have Rox's power, because they probably don't even know who he is, right? And also, like, Rox pirates, to our knowledge, haven't met Enel, so they wouldn't know that either. So I like that one. There's some other ideas that could work, but I think, like, Buggy's fruit, or Blackbeard's fruit, or any major devil fruit is pretty much off the table for Rox, because the first thing some of the Rox pirates should have said is, oh my god, you have my captain's powers, right? Like, Buggy used his powers in front of Whitebeard at Marineford. We didn't hear anything. Blackbeard used the dark fruit against Whitebeard, and Whitebeard, like, didn't even... If Rox had it, he would have known the effects. Like, he was completely caught off guard by the way the powers work. The Op fruit is also off the table, I think, because Law on the rooftop was using it, and Kaido and Big Mom commented on how annoying the powers were to deal with, so I feel like there's like no way that they wouldn't make a comment, oh, like, I remember dealing with these annoying powers before with our captain, or something. Kid's powers, same thing. No way that he had the magnet fruit and nobody's commented on it, so I think we can rule out a lot of the devil fruits that are like, they probably come to mind right away, so we have to really think another level. It could be just that he doesn't have one, or he has one that we haven't heard of before. Personally, in Redacted, the idea that I said that I'm sticking with until we learn more is that he had the wind fruit. My only reasoning is it said that he vanished without a trace. If you have the wind fruit, you can just poof in the wind and you're gone. That would explain how he even got up here in the first place. Now, we do see him running away, and I don't know if that really does a lot of good to the wind theory, because he could have just turned to wind and ran away. But maybe he wanted to go meet Harold, and that's why. I don't know, I could reason through it, but in general, I'm going no fruit, but I don't know. I'm very curious. And then Vasil Vlad Ivanovici with the £5 super chat. Imagine if Buggy, of all people, is the one to accidentally find Emu and expose them. Also, thoughts on Yami being the first Nika fruit Domi reversied? I'm going to answer the first part first. Well, it is interesting. Imagine if Buggy's the one to accidentally find Emu and expose them. I'm trying to think of if there's like a parallel for that. For like Buggy to do that. Because for Luffy, I can think of a very easy parallel on why it would be him, and that's Boa. Remember how he crashed into Boa's bathhouse, and he was it was only those two in there, and he saw the marking on the back, and he like didn't care about it, but it was like it's. I feel like it's similar to Luffy potentially dropping into the flower room and seeing Emu. And maybe that's where we see Emu not in a silhouette, because it's like we get to see it through Luffy's eyes. Because, like, personally, I don't think Rox is seeing a silhouette right now. I think Rox is seeing what Emu looks like. It's just Oda's keeping the silhouette so we don't. Like, Cobra probably also saw what Emu looked like. So, I think that's the best parallel that I can think of. But it would be hilarious to see Buggy do it. The way that it would make the most sense if it's Buggy is if Emu does have a clown nose. Like, if Emu is also a clown, that's what makes the most sense for Buggy, which that would be hilarious. That would be really funny. And you said thoughts on the Yami being the first Nika fruit Domi reversied. So you're saying a devil fruit got Domi reversied? I think that's an interesting idea. I don't think Oda's going to go that route, where he's gonna reverse a devil fruit. But it is really interesting. And also the Yami, I'm just trying to think of like ways to compare and contrast. Obviously there's the dark and white. They're black and white already, so that is a good connection. But also the Yami fruit was said to, like, the gravity's so strong it even like light can't escape, and obviously the Nika fruit is for the sun god, and the sun emits light. So if you're gonna have a fruit where like light can't escape, that might be a good counter for the sun god as well. So I think that might be a good connection. But I personally, like, don't get me wrong, I love the Domi Reversi theories, because Oda has some stuff cooking for that. I am beyond certain. But I also feel like a lot of the time, and this happens every arc, but I feel like sometimes we get into this mode where like Oda introduces a new thing and we start attaching it to a lot of different things. Like Punk Records is a good example. Like whenever Punk Records got explained and like, oh, it's a brain that has all the information, and people and like I want to make it so everybody connects, so we all have the same brain. And people started immediately saying, oh, the One Piece is that, or Emu's controlling that, or the center of the earth is that. It was like a million theories. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I love theories. That's why I'm here. Those are what my videos are. So I love it. But I feel like sometimes we start wanting to attach these new things to everything, and I don't think Oda's going to go that far. So it's also the same thing with Harold. Like when Harold was getting stabbed by everybody in the early parts of this flashback, which it feels like we already forgot because, I mean, obvious reasons, Rocks, showed up. But a lot of people were like, oh, he got Domi reversied and everyone attacked. Or maybe his friends got Domi reversied and that's why he's getting hurt. And it's kind of the same thing where it's like we just saw Domi reversi, so we want to start attaching that to everything. But Oda doesn't really do it that way. It's almost the opposite, where like whenever he introduces it, it's like, hey, this is where it's gonna be. I'm not gonna use it a million other times. I'm gonna use it here, and that's it. And I mean, but there will be other times in the past that it's been used. But just generally, I think we sometimes hear about this new phenomenon and want to attach it to everything. But Oda wants to introduce more and more new things, right? Like, it's not going to end here. There's probably other powers that Emu has, and we still got to figure out how devil fruits work. So I don't think you're going to be able to Domi Reversi devil fruits, or really Domi Reversi anything other than people. But it is a really cool idea nonetheless. I'm not going to lie about that. Also, I saw John Sherrod in the chat. He said, my guy's still recording. Let's go. Yes, sir. I don't think I'll be going for that much longer. Because my heart rate has been at maximum for for 3 hours now because this chapter was peak. But I am still live. Saw Growth Stonks down there. Growth, we talked about you earlier, my guy. We who was it? Somebody. Let me make sure I give this person a shout out. Who was it? I can't remember. Was it Debus? It was Debus. Debus was channeling some Growth Stonks energy earlier. He talked about Blackbeard and Rocks being like Cavendish and Hakuba, which I know has been your theory for a long time. Oh wow, you did. Thanks. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I was also telling about how we used to play Apex and then I stopped, and I'm no longer anywhere near your level. for sure on Apex, but yeah, we were talking about Hakuba, and I was out. Basically, what I said, in case you're curious, basically I don't think it's going to be as simple as Blackbeard goes to sleep and then he wakes up as Rocks, because I think that's like too direct of a retread. But obviously, there's a parallel going on there, which I know you and I have talked about a lot. There's something, I don't know what it is, but when Blackbeard falls asleep, something happens other than him falling asleep. You know, like that is, I will bet. Maybe not my house, but I'll bet a lot of money on that for sure. Also, I see Lol Sauce in the chat, aka Lucas C. Now, I mean, I know, like I don't want to say Lucas is a bad name because I like the name Lucas and it probably fits you, but I really liked the name Lol Sauce. So now it does throw me off when I see Lucas now and it's not Lol Sauce. So I have to mentally put the pieces together. Actually, every Lucas I know, which there's a good amount, has been a pretty awesome person, actually. That's his off-screen powers. Blackbeard's third fruit is actually the off-screen no me. Nickel Vento, wow, Dak, thanks for getting me through my entire 9 to 5 with this stream. Hey, I'm happy I could help. And if you need another stream to help you do that, then make sure you check out Par Vision's stream tomorrow, because he has it scheduled for, I think, 11:55 in the morning. So I guess you'll have to do a couple hours without it. But last time Par went for like 6 hours or something, which is insane. Now it does help that he brings Sai on, and so I've just been going for 3 hours just me, which is a lot for me, but it's worth it this week. And so we're at 2 hours and 57 minutes. I'm gonna try wrapping it up once we hit 3 hours. So if you got any final questions, now's the time, because I am starting to feel the effects. And it's not just that we've been streaming, it's that the chapter was so hype that I wasted so much energy. And also, right before the stream started, like literally right before it, I was running errands, came back, walked the dogs, came back, took a shower, immediately got on the stream. So it's been like I was busy for like 2 or 3 hours before this, and now I had these 3 hours, and it's already 7 o'clock, so I gotta go eat, and then I gotta come back and work on the video. So it's like my body's feeling the effects is what I'm getting at, but we're good, because this boost of energy I got from this is next level. Also, before I forget, because I just have a couple little housekeeping things, I guess. Not 100% sure on this, but probably this stream might be the last stream that I have that intro scene. Like, you know that intro scene where, here, I'll jump over to it. This one? This might be the last time you see it. Well, at least for this type of stream, because I am getting a new one commissioned that is LBAF focused. So we're going to have a new cool intro scene for the next, hopefully the next reaction. Lee J, if you're listening, in 2 weeks sounds crazy. It's fine. I'm just hyping people up. If you can't get it done in 2 weeks, it's totally fine. But we are getting a new one done from the same guy. Lee J's the GOAT. It's going to be LBAF related, and what I think I'm going to do is have a new animation for every arc, which there might only be like 2 more, but maybe I'll create some extra ones. But I want to start specializing them for the moment, kind of. So, because that one's like for my Davy Dak fights, which I haven't done for like a year. Maybe now is the time to bring it back. Now that we know Rox is doing Davy Back fights. So I guess it's good that the last stream we have the Davy Dak one is this chapter, which actually that's kind of peak. You know what? Sometimes life is just too perfect with the serendipity. You know, sometimes like universe just lines things up and it's just perfect. Alex A, you said that Laugh Tale intro gonna go hard. Oh yeah. Oh, we're gonna get a Laugh Tale one for sure. Whenever we get close to Laugh Tale, I'm getting a Laugh Tale intro for sure. Like we'll have an Elbaf one. We'll have a Lodestar one if we go there, which I still think we are, but it's probably going to be really short, so whatever. And then probably a Marijois one, maybe, and then a Laugh-Tail one. Probably like 4 more, I would say. Brandino, you said, I got to rewind, but glad to see you. Glad to see you too, bro. You got a lot of cooking to listen to, and not just me. Like the comments, the comments were teeing me up for some good theories today. The super chats, so definitely. I hope you enjoy it, man. This is. I think I can officially say this was my favorite reaction of all time, because like there are some reactions where, like, believe me, like we come up with some great theories. There's a great chapter. It's super great, but this one I just feel like from head to toe was like peak from start to finish, genuinely, like nonstop. Let's got a couple more things I want to answer here. Bior, you said Dak putting in the work for the fellas. I'm trying. I got so many scripts ready to go. I got the Loki Uranus one. I got the Eustace Kid one, which that one, I mean, I do want to do it, but given everything we just saw, I'll probably wait on that one a little bit, because I got to talk about all this stuff. I don't know if my next video will just be like a chapter, a really in-depth chapter review. I might do something like that. I'll see if I can bounce any bigger theories off of everything, but I don't know. Sometimes whenever like a chapter is really hype, I kind of am not sure what to say, because I'm like, I don't really do chapter reviews necessarily. And so I'm like, I don't want to get on here and just regurgitate, but I feel like this one has enough, like, I don't want to call it regurgitation, but it has enough where I can say, like, in this part, you know, they said this, but here's the 10 things we can pull out of it, like the Davy Jonesian thing. There's it won't be really a recap if I'm going in depth on like all the things that could mean. So I think this review or whatever video I do on this chapter, I think will be pretty good for sure. Leonardo Martins, you said, Dak, do you also think that Ochoku looks like Seki, the king of Lelucia? Let me look it up, because I remember him a little bit in my head, but I know, yeah, he had the sharp teeth, the canine teeth, the whatever you want to call them, vampire teeth. Let me find Ochoku. I see a little bit of similarity, because they have the sharp ears, right? Like, he doesn't have the teeth, but he has the sharp ears, which... And he has, like... It doesn't look like Ochoku actually has eyebrows, but he does have, like, the same... Like, the way his just eye lids, his forehead, I don't know, whatever. Like, what would be his eyebrows, the way that's shaped. It is the same kind of as Seki, so I do see a little bit of parallel there. And, you know, the fact he has, like, a forked tongue... while he doesn't have the same sharp teeth as Seki, it does make me think like maybe they could both be like reptile offshoots in a way, right? Because like I feel like that's kind of like a snake tongue or something. I mean, this you could definitely tell me those are like snake fangs or something on Seki. So maybe. Brandon King, you said, Dak, did you know that Davy Jones was the leader of the band The Monkees? Maybe that's tied to him as a pirate, like he has a crew called Davy Jones and his rubber band. That's kind of cool. Assuming he has the Nika fruit, of course. Yeah, well, if Davy Jones is Joy Boy, that could fit really well. Really? So, hold on, I'm gonna look up this guy. Davy Jones, musician. They Made a Monkey Out of Me is one of his top songs. Oh, wow, and he was making music all the way till he died, pretty much? Or no, maybe the wiki just isn't organizing this info very well. Oh, no, okay, it's just saying that he died in 2012. Got you. Okay. Interesting. I've never heard of this guy. And he existed back in he was famous back in the 60s and 70s. So that is like early enough to where Oda could have heard of him and try to incorporate him in some way. Because with how important music is to the story, I could maybe see it. I'm trying to think of what Oda because Oda wouldn't want to take it 1-to-1, but maybe it's just saying that Joy Boy was Davy Jones and his whole crew was a crew of musicians. Like maybe they were like the Rumbar Pirates, but just back in the day. Which I am fully 100% supportive of that idea. That the Joy Boy was a crew of from a crew of musicians, and maybe where we're gonna go is that Joy Boy always sucked at playing instruments. And so all he wanted to do was get different musicians on his crew. Because remember, Luffy wanted a musician more than anybody else. And so maybe Joy Boy sucked at playing music, so that's why he had to get a bunch of musicians. But then, once he awakened the Nika fruit, then he was able to play the drums. And maybe that made their music like that much better, right? Like he couldn't play anything other than the drums of Liberation. I think that would be kind of cool. So you might be onto something there, Brandon King, genuinely. I got a bunch of text messages, and a couple of them are from my One Piece reading friends, so I have a hunch of what those texts might be about, but we'll look here in a second. But yeah, guys, I'm in disbelief that this happened. Dude. Rocks and Emu in the same room. Chilling. Not even fighting, not even like just looking at each other from a distance, like a quick glance. Like they're chilling. I need this animated, and it's so funny because like the things I typically get excited about animations for are like fights or things where there's music or just giant climactic events. I'm cool with like Toei. Stretch this scene out all you want. Give me 5 minutes of Rocks and Emu just hanging out. You know, like just give me little cutscenes. I don't care. I need to see it. This is the aura of that episode will be. I don't even know if the servers can handle it. I want to see Rock's hair color. Tiny Angry Gnome says, "Me too, me too." That and I think that's a really cool phenomenon that we get with the manga because, like, let's just say, for example, Rox's hair is black and blue, and so then we're like, oh, the buggy theory is even more likely now. Well. It's a cool phenomenon that Oda doesn't show us that yet. So then maybe he can time up the reveal of the buggy thing if they are related, which again I don't think they have to be, but if they are, he can time up the buggy reveal later when we're gonna see the color of his hair. So then it's like, you know, he can delay that reveal later, but then sort of merge it all together. So that way we get the reveal in the manga, we go see his hair is blue, and it's like, oh, we should have known all along. Or if his hair is red, which, by the way, that's my personal guess, and I don't have a great reason for it, but I think his hair is going to be black and red. I think it'll just look badass, for one thing. Like, those are both, like, evil colors in a way, and maybe you could reason it's more so exemplifying, like Blackbeard and Shanks, because maybe Rox is somewhat of, like, a middle ground. Maybe not even Shanks, but, like, just the Fagarland family, where maybe, like, we see all the Blackbeard stuff, but him, like, going into the Reverie, subjugating these kings, like, I don't know. I could definitely see a little something, because, like, even Shanks went back to the Holy Land for a while, so I don't know. I could see something there. Or if it's, like, I don't know. I can't think of any other examples, but depending on what the hair color is, it could tell us a lot about him, and I think that's just a cool thing where we're left in the dark for a long time, you know? Coob of the Red Sea says Dax D. Zebek is at it again, bro. I'm honored you would say that, because Rox and I are kindred spirits. We absolutely are. He went and got his whole crew through a Davy back fight, or several Davy back fights, which I already loved Rox before we got to this. Like, I was already hooked on Rox being the GOAT, and now it's just confirmed, you know, literally. Also, I just noticed this too, guys. So we talked about in that Davy back panel, we see Rox fighting with boxing gloves, which is like, oh my god, that is the coolest thing. But then we to the right, is Rox not holding a straw hat? Do you guys see that? He has that axe in his hand with blood on it, but he's holding a straw hat. You see that, right? I'm not the only, like, I don't know who that could reasonably be that he's taken the hat from. It's probably not like a a Luffy or Roger straw hat, but like that's so on one side he's pulling a straw hat off a guy, and the other one he's got the boxing gloves. And you also got to think too that when Afro Luffy was there in Long Ring Longland, his tattoo had like it was like a skull with flaming hair, which is a lot like Rock's logo. And now we see Rox was doing Davy back fights. What is going on there? Also, do you see Rox just shooting a pistol at that other ship and blowing the whole thing up? I wonder if what that's telling us is that like they were having a donut race, because that's the first leg of the Davy back fight. It's like the first competition is you race your boats around an island. And I wonder if that's him shooting the ship so that they lose the donut race. I think that's what he's doing. Because Foxy also cheated during the donut race. That is kind of funny. Lol Sauce, you said, "Oh, Dak, did you show homie that carrot card?" I have not. But well, why don't you go and post it in the Discord? If you just go in the One Piece section and post it, you know who you're gonna get responses from. You know. I haven't shown anyone, so show him. Lol Sauce has a really cool PSA 10 carrot card, which I know it's a carrot card, but I'm not gonna lie, the One Piece TCG loves carrot almost as much as the fandom does. Like. There's like as many carrot cards as Luffy cards, I feel like. It's like every set has carrot in it. Growth Stonks, was the Void Century one long Davy back fight? That's a cool idea. I do think Emu, well, I don't know the context exactly, but I think a Davy back fight is going to be central to the Emu and Joy Boy thing. Like, I think the most likely way that Joy Boy died was losing a Davy back fight, and Emu like forced him to die. My favorite idea that I've ever thought of is that Emu wins the Davy back fight, picks Joy Boy, which we saw during the Foxy Davy back fight that was like frowned upon to take the captain of the other crew, because then like if the captain says I'm going to fight in the combat round and you take the captain before that, then the captain can't fight, so you automatically win, which is what Nami told Luffy to do, and they were like, no, that like you can, but that's kind of shitty. So Luffy decided not to. But I think Emu may have done that against Joy Boy and took Joy Boy on his crew and then told Joy Boy, okay, now do the immortal youth surgery. And now that he already had a fruit, so you'd have to like swap personalities or do something. But some way where Joy Boy can be sacrificed to give immortality to Emu. So like Emu's reign is because Joy Boy willingly helped Emu, because you know once you lose a Davy back fight, like you kind of have to listen to your captain for the most part. So I think that would be really cool if Joy Boy died, you know, and it by Emu's request, essentially. Whether the immortality part is there or not, I just think if Emu told Joy Boy, like, yeah, you know, now that you're on my crew and you have to listen, die. And then Joy Boy had to do it. And so like it's like Joy Boy never really lost. I think that'd be cool. Because like if his crew lost the first leg of the Davy back fight and he got taken, and then they lost the second leg, there would be no third round. So he never really lost. He wasn't a part of any of the rounds that they lost, but Emu just made him die anyway. I think that'd be kind of cool. But all right, guys. I think it's time for me to go. I think it's time for me to go get some food. I don't know where I'm going to go. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters anymore. Oda's cooking too hard, so that's all I need to eat is chapter 1155. But I am going to go. We have a break week this week, so definitely getting some videos out, like I said. Hopefully getting 2. Going to try for 3. That's probably not going to happen, though, but probably 2 this break. We're definitely going to do... I'm going to have a redacted video for sure. Don't know who yet, but keep an eye on the Discord. I'll post about that. And maybe we'll just do a couple... Well, you know what? I need to do an anime reaction. That's true. I need to do that, too, because I know the last anime episode was the tearjerker. And I'm a few episodes behind, but I might watch them alone, the couple... before 1136. Is that this really sad one that just came out? Whatever the most recent one is. I might just watch the ones I haven't watched and then get up to 1136 and then do a reaction for that. I don't know. We're gonna do some streams this week. I'm trying to be way more consistent, for sure. That's my goal. And Oda's making it really easy right now with these chapters. So thank you guys. And my last parting message to you guys is, if you guys have the time, go check out the other creators that are going to be reacting to this over the course of the next day or two. Like there's going to be like, I'm glad you guys enjoyed my reaction, but I know you guys go catch Jay or King Recon or Par. You're going to get some amazing reactions as well. I personally will be watching King Recon's reaction tonight. I just saw he posted that he's doing it at 9 p.m. tonight, which is less than 2 hours from now, which is amazing. So I'll be watching that for sure. Last reaction for King Recon was so funny because he got to the end and he saw Whitebeard's face and ran away from his camera. And I thought he saw rocks, but he came back. He's like, oh my God, Whitebeard's here. And then he goes down and he sees like some more stuff. He freaks out, runs away, comes back, sees rocks, freaks out, runs away, comes back, sees father of Blackbeard, runs away. Like it was like every 2 seconds he was like freaking out. And you know, that's Coach for you. It was hilarious. 10 out of 10 reaction. So that's my parting message. Go check them out if you guys got the time. But otherwise, I'll catch you guys next time. Have a great weekend and I'll see you guys soon. Wait, oh, never mind. I read the last one. I thought I didn't read a super chat, but we're good. It was a couple people subscribing. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Hank. Thank you, El Tosi Naciano. I don't know if I said that right, but thank you guys.